You are about to listen to something that can change how you see yourself and the life you are living. Most people go through each day on autopilot, reacting to problems, letting distractions take over, and missing the small choices that build a better future. This audiobook is different. It is about noticing your mind, understanding your thoughts, and taking control of your actions so that you can live intentionally and fully. You will learn how to focus on what truly matters, face fears without hesitation, and build habits that create lasting progress. You will discover how to manage your emotions instead of letting them control you, how to embrace challenges as opportunities to grow, and how to communicate with honesty and clarity so your relationships strengthen and thrive. Every chapter gives simple, practical steps you can start applying immediately. By the time you finish listening, you will have a clear path to improve your daily life, make smarter decisions, and take control of your personal growth. Every idea here is meant to push you to act, reflect, and live with purpose. This is about seeing clearly, thinking deeply, and moving forward without delay. If you are ready to make real changes and step into a stronger, wiser version of yourself, this audiobook is for you. Chapter 1. Awaken your awareness to notice everything happening around you. Awareness is the foundation of everything meaningful in life. Without it, we drift through days without understanding why we feel certain ways, why certain things affect us deeply, or why we repeatedly make choices that do not serve us. Awakening your awareness is not about becoming perfect or suddenly seeing the world in a completely different way. It is about paying attention, noticing, and understanding the layers of life that often go unnoticed. It is about consciously choosing to observe rather than react, to see what is happening both around you and within you, and to take control of your mind, your actions, and ultimately your life. The first step toward transformation begins with the simple act of noticing. Awareness is the eye of your mind. It is the lens through which you interpret the world and through which you shape your reality. To awaken this eye, you must first commit to observing without judgment. Many people live in a state of autopilot, going through routines, interacting with others, and reacting to situations without ever truly noticing the richness of the present moment. They see the world but do not perceive it. They hear sounds but do not listen. They experience events but do not process the underlying lessons. Awareness changes this. Awareness allows you to see clearly. Awareness allows you to understand the patterns that govern your life and the forces that influence your behavior. It allows you to see the truth about your choices, your relationships, and your environment. To awaken your awareness, start by observing everything happening around you. Notice the small details that often go ignored. Watch how people behave and interact. Observe how they respond to stress, to joy, to disappointment. Pay attention to how the environment affects your emotions. Does clutter make you restless? Does noise make you irritable? Does a calm setting make your mind sharper? These observations may seem minor at first, but they provide critical insight into how external factors influence your inner state. Begin with one simple practice each day. Take 10 minutes to observe without judgment. Sit in a public place, a park, or even a room in your home. Notice everything, the movements, the sounds, the expressions, the energy around you. Do not label anything as good or bad. Simply see. By doing this consistently, you train your mind to notice patterns, to recognize subtle cues, and to understand the flow of life. Awareness is not limited to external observation. Internal awareness is equally important. Most people do not notice the constant chatter of their own minds. Thoughts come and go like clouds, and we often follow them without question. We react emotionally before we think. We allow assumptions, fears, and prejudices to guide our behavior. Internal awareness is about becoming conscious of your thoughts, your emotions, and your impulses. To practice this, begin by observing your thoughts as they arise. Notice when your mind drifts to fear, anger, or self-doubt. Observe when you feel joy, curiosity, or determination. Understand that your thoughts are not you. They are signals, information, and reflections of your subconscious beliefs. By watching them, you gain the power to choose which thoughts to act upon and which to release. The key to awakening your awareness is consistency. It is not a single moment of insight, but a daily practice. Set aside moments in your day to pause, breathe, and notice. Start your morning by paying attention to your surroundings and your mood. During the day, observe your interactions and reactions. In the evening, reflect on what you experienced. This simple act of noticing transforms ordinary life into a series of lessons and opportunities for growth. Another critical aspect of awareness is mindfulness in action. It is easy to observe quietly or reflect internally, but true awareness is demonstrated through how you move, speak, and respond. When you act with awareness, every decision carries intention. You notice the impact of your words before you speak. You feel the weight of your actions before you act. You understand the consequences of choices, both large and small. Practicing awareness in action requires slowing down. Modern life trains us to move quickly, to multitask, to react impulsively. Awareness requires patience. It requires slowing your pace just enough to notice what is happening before making decisions. This does not mean hesitating or overthinking, but it does mean pausing to ensure that your actions align with your values and your goals. One of the most powerful tools for awakening awareness is journaling. Writing down what you notice each day strengthens your observation skills and deepens your understanding. Record moments when you felt particularly present or absent. Note patterns in your thoughts and emotions. Reflect on interactions and outcomes. Over time, this creates a personal map of your mind, revealing areas of strength, recurring challenges, and opportunities for growth. Awareness also requires honesty. You must face uncomfortable truths about yourself and the world around you. It is easy to notice only what feels safe or pleasant. True awareness demands that you confront what you avoid. This might mean recognizing your own biases, acknowledging repeated mistakes, or admitting where you lack discipline. The process is not meant to induce guilt, but to illuminate reality so you can take control. Awareness is the foundation of resilience. When you notice your thoughts and emotions, you gain the ability to respond rather than react. When you notice your habits, you gain the power to change them. When you notice your environment and relationships, you can decide which to nurture and which to release. Awareness is the first step toward intentional living. The world often moves fast, but awareness allows you to slow down just enough to make meaningful choices. Begin each day by asking simple questions. What am I noticing right now? What emotions are present? How is my environment affecting me? What patterns repeat in my thoughts and actions? These questions, simple as they may seem, guide you into a state of conscious observation that changes how you experience life. Practical application of awareness includes observing your triggers. Notice the situations or people that provoke strong emotional reactions. Awareness of triggers allows you to respond deliberately rather than being swept away by instinctive reactions. When anger arises, notice it. When fear appears, notice it. When anxiety takes hold, observe it. By seeing it clearly, you create a gap between stimulus and response. In that gap, choice exists. Another practical exercise is sensory observation. Engage fully with your senses to anchor yourself in the present moment. Notice what you see, hear, smell, touch, and taste. These exercises ground your mind, enhance your focus, and improve your ability to notice subtleties in the environment. Awareness also enhances learning and decision-making. When you notice patterns, you understand consequences more clearly. When you notice your thoughts and emotions, you make decisions aligned with your highest goals. Awareness reduces the influence of external noise, peer pressure, and fleeting trends. It allows you to act from a place of clarity and conviction. Awareness strengthens relationships. When you notice others' words, tone, body language, and emotional state, you communicate more effectively. People respond to attention. When you notice, you validate, understand, and build trust. Awareness is a form of respect for yourself and for others. Awakening your awareness is not an abstract concept, it is deeply practical. Start with small steps. Spend 5 minutes observing without judgment. Practice one mindful action in your day. Reflect honestly on a single thought or emotion. The cumulative effect of these small actions compounds over time, shaping your perception, your choices, and your life. Awareness is also about recognizing impermanence. Notice the passing nature of thoughts, feelings, and circumstances. Life is constantly in motion. Situations change, emotions fade, and experiences evolve. Awareness keeps you grounded in reality rather than caught in illusions or attachment. It is the eye that sees truth without distortion. Avoid the trap of passive noticing. Awareness is most powerful when paired with intention. Do not simply observe for the sake of observation. Let your noticing inform your actions. Let it guide your decisions. Let it create growth. Awareness without action is like looking at a map and never taking the journey. True awareness always leads to thoughtful engagement with life. Another dimension of awareness is self-awareness in your body. Notice how tension, posture, breathing, and energy levels reflect internal states. Stress manifests physically, and awareness of the body allows you to manage it before it overwhelms your mind. Body awareness connects mind and action, creating coherence in your behavior. Awareness is also about timing. Notice when you are most productive, most focused, and most creative. Align your most important actions with your peak states. Awareness allows you to work smarter, not just harder. Awareness demands courage. Noticing can be uncomfortable because it shines light on areas of life we prefer to ignore. It requires the bravery to face truths without denial, to question assumptions, and to challenge long-standing habits. Courage in awareness is what transforms insight into change. Daily practice of awareness rewires the mind. Each moment you consciously notice strengthens neural pathways associated with focus, reflection, and decision-making. Over time, what begins as a deliberate practice becomes second nature. You become naturally alert, present, and discerning. Awareness protects against manipulation, distraction, and impulsivity. In a world filled with information overload, awareness allows you to filter what matters. It enables clarity in the face of confusion and steadiness in the face of chaos. Awareness fosters gratitude. When you notice small moments, acts of kindness, beauty, and effort, you cultivate appreciation. Awareness transforms ordinary experiences into meaningful encounters, revealing the richness that often goes unnoticed. Awareness nurtures purpose. By observing patterns in your behavior and environment, you identify what aligns with your values and goals. Awareness allows you to live intentionally rather than reactively, to pursue what matters most rather than what is convenient or expected. Awareness is the first step toward mastery. Mastery of your thoughts, emotions, actions, and environment begins with seeing clearly. Until you notice what is happening, you cannot shape it. Awareness turns chaos into comprehension and potential into action. Each day presents countless opportunities to awaken awareness. The sun rises, sounds fill the air, people speak and act, thoughts appear, emotions surface. Choosing to notice these moments consciously transforms routine into learning, reaction into decision, and life into intentional growth. Awareness is not a destination, it is a lifelong practice, a discipline of the mind and spirit. It requires patience, diligence, and consistency. There will be days when noticing feels effortless and days when it is difficult. Persistence in this practice creates resilience and clarity over a lifetime. Start small, stay consistent, and gradually expand your observation to all aspects of life. Awareness is the lens through which everything else becomes possible. Without it, learning is incomplete, growth is hindered, and decisions are clouded. With it, life unfolds with clarity, intention, and purpose. Each moment observed, each thought noticed, each reaction assessed strengthens your mind and your ability to navigate life with wisdom and effectiveness. Every action taken from awareness is deliberate, meaningful, and aligned with your highest intentions. Awaken your awareness, and you awaken the potential within yourself to live fully, consciously, and wisely. Awareness is the practice of life in its purest form, and cultivating it is the first step toward mastering everything else. You are capable of noticing, understanding, and choosing every moment. This power is available to you here and now. By committing to the practice of awareness, you reclaim control over your life, sharpen your mind, strengthen your character, and open the door to meaningful transformation. The eye of your mind is not simply observing, it is seeing clearly, understanding deeply, and acting intentionally. Each day is an opportunity to practice, to notice more, to grow wiser, and to live more fully. Awareness is the beginning of freedom, clarity, and purpose, and it is available to anyone willing to open their eyes and see. Chapter 2's in Focus your attention on what truly matters in life. Attention is the currency of life. What you focus on determines the quality of your experiences, the depth of your relationships, the progress you make, and the person you become. Most people allow their attention to drift toward what is urgent, loud, or distracting rather than what is essential. Social media notifications, random obligations, fleeting emotions, and the endless noise of modern life fragment the mind and dilute the energy necessary to create meaningful results. Focusing on what truly matters is not about ignoring responsibilities or withdrawing from life. It is about consciously selecting where your mind, energy, and actions go so that they align with your highest priorities. Focus is a skill that can be cultivated. It is not innate but developed through practice, discipline, and clarity. The first step toward mastering focus is identifying what matters most. Without clarity, attention disperses in every direction, chasing trivialities while the most important goals and values fade into the background. Take time to define your core priorities. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve in life? What kind of person do I want to become? What relationships and experiences hold the greatest value? Write these down in clear, specific terms. Defining what matters creates a reference point for your attention, a mental compass to guide decisions and actions. Once priorities are identified, remove distractions that compete for your attention. Modern life offers countless temptations and interruptions that pull you away from focus. Digital devices, unnecessary commitments, gossip, and overconsumption of information are common culprits. Reducing these distractions is essential. Turn off notifications, limit unnecessary digital interactions, and create designated periods of uninterrupted time. Protect your attention like a valuable resource because it determines the outcomes you achieve. Focus is strengthened through deliberate practice. Begin with small blocks of undivided attention. Pick a task, a goal, or an activity that matters and dedicate yourself to it completely for a fixed period. Resist the urge to multitask. Multitasking dilutes energy, reduces efficiency, and prevents deep engagement. True focus requires depth, not superficial business. Training your mind to stay on a single priority builds mental resilience and allows you to accomplish tasks with precision and mastery. Emotional focus is equally important. Your mind can be hijacked by worries, regrets, or negative emotions that pull attention away from productive action. Recognizing when emotions dominate your attention is critical. Pause, acknowledge the feeling, and decide where to redirect your focus. Channel emotional energy into constructive actions rather than letting it drift into distraction or rumination. Focus also involves timing. Different periods of the day carry varying levels of energy and clarity. Observe when your mind is sharpest, your energy is highest, and your motivation is strongest. Align critical tasks with these peak states. Working in harmony with your natural rhythm multiplies effectiveness and reduces wasted effort. Attention is not just about work or achievement, it extends to relationships and personal growth. Focus on the people and experiences that uplift, challenge, and inspire you. Avoid investing attention in negativity, drama, or situations that drain energy without meaningful return. Prioritize interactions that contribute to your growth, happiness, and long-term goals. To maintain focus, cultivate awareness of internal and external cues. Notice when your mind drifts, when distractions arise, or when energy is siphoned toward trivial matters. Self-awareness allows timely corrections. Use reminders, structured routines, and deliberate pauses to regain attention when it wanders. Physical environment plays a major role in sustaining focus. Organize spaces to minimize chaos and interruptions. Clear clutter, ensure adequate lighting, and create an atmosphere conducive to concentration. The external environment supports internal clarity, reinforcing the habit of attention on what truly matters. Focus requires saying no to what is unnecessary. Many people struggle with scattered attention because they accept too many commitments, obligations, and invitations. Every yes to a distraction is a no to a priority. Learning to say no is a powerful tool that preserves mental energy and ensures alignment with core goals. Consistent focus produces compounding results. Small, intentional actions repeated daily accumulate into significant progress over time. Attention is the multiplier of effort. Without focus, effort dissipates. With focus, even limited effort achieves extraordinary results. Visualization enhances focus. Mentally rehearsing priorities and desired outcomes sharpens attention and prepares the mind for action. Visualizing completion and benefits strengthens commitment and keeps distractions from pulling energy away. Focus is strengthened by limiting reactive behavior. Many people allow impulses, social influence, or immediate desires to dictate attention. Practicing restraint, pausing before acting, and consciously choosing where attention goes fosters discipline. Over time, this creates a mind that naturally prioritizes what matters without constant struggle. Awareness and focus are complementary. Observing where your attention naturally drifts provides insight into hidden habits, distractions, and values. By noticing tendencies, you gain the ability to realign attention consistently with what is truly important. Journaling enhances focus by recording intentions, daily priorities, and reflections. Writing clarifies thoughts, reinforces commitments, and provides a reference point to assess progress. Daily journaling ensures attention remains directed toward meaningful goals rather than being hijacked by noise. Focus thrives on energy management. Physical well-being, proper rest, nutrition, and movement sustain attention. A fatigued or drained mind cannot sustain deliberate focus. Treating the body as a vessel for mental clarity is an essential aspect of directing attention effectively. Focus requires courage to resist temptation and short-term gratification. Many distractions offer immediate pleasure, but no lasting value. Choosing long-term significance over temporary comfort strengthens attention and aligns actions with deeper purpose. Attention is a finite resource. Where it flows, life manifests. By consciously directing attention, you shape reality. Neglecting focus allows randomness to dominate, leading to regret, inefficiency, and unfulfilled potential. To practice, start each day by identifying the 3 most important priorities. Dedicate the majority of energy and attention to these areas. Minimize interruptions, delegate lesser tasks, and avoid multitasking. Review progress at day's end to reinforce lessons learned and refine focus. Focus also involves reflection. Regularly assess whether attention has been spent in alignment with what matters most. Identify areas of distraction and adjust systems, routines, and habits to support intentional attention. A focused mind develops clarity of purpose. When attention is concentrated, decisions become easier, obstacles less daunting, and actions more precise. A mind scattered across trivialities is restless, anxious, and ineffective. Training focus transforms not only productivity but mental resilience, emotional balance, and overall fulfillment. Focus allows mastery. Mastery requires deep engagement, repeated practice, and sustained attention. By focusing on meaningful actions consistently, skill, understanding, and results grow exponentially. Attention is a skill that impacts every area of life. Personal growth, relationships, health, creativity, and career success all depend on where energy is placed. Neglecting focus ensures mediocrity, while disciplined attention produces excellence. Focus demands awareness of the present. Dwelling on past mistakes or future worries diminishes attention on the tasks, actions, and relationships that require presence. Mindfulness reinforces focus by anchoring attention in the here and now, allowing energy to flow toward constructive activity. Attention is strengthened through accountability. Sharing priorities with trusted individuals, seeking guidance, or working alongside others committed to similar goals maintains alignment and reduces distraction. Focus creates peace. When energy is applied to meaningful actions, the mind experiences less conflict, regret, and frustration. Scattered attention breeds anxiety, dissatisfaction, and wasted potential. Focus nurtures confidence. When priorities are clear and attention is aligned, decisions are made decisively, actions are taken with conviction, and results build trust in your own capability. Focus enhances resilience. Challenges and setbacks require sustained attention to navigate effectively. A scattered mind loses sight of solutions, while focused attention identifies opportunities, paths forward, and lessons to integrate. Attention is an expression of value. What you choose to focus on reveals what matters most. Consciously directing attention toward growth, relationships, and purpose ensures life is lived intentionally rather than by default. Focus is a practice that transforms ordinary moments into meaningful experiences. Engaging fully with important tasks deepens skill, understanding, and satisfaction. Energy is invested where it produces maximum impact. Every distraction avoided, every decision prioritized, every moment observed strengthens the capacity to focus. The discipline of attention is life-changing. It shapes character, builds momentum, and creates results that accumulate over time. By mastering focus, you reclaim control over time, energy, and outcomes. Focus is not a one-time achievement, but a daily commitment. Each moment presents a choice: scatter attention or concentrate on what truly matters. The mind that chooses clarity, priority, and purpose consistently is the mind that produces extraordinary results. Begin by observing where your attention naturally goes. Identify areas of drift, distraction, and unnecessary engagement. Redirect attention deliberately, protect energy, and reinforce choices through daily reflection. Focus becomes effortless with practice, creating a life lived intentionally, fully, and effectively. Attention is a tool, a skill, and a responsibility. Where it is directed shapes not only achievements but character, relationships, and legacy. Cultivating focus on what truly matters transforms ordinary effort into meaningful progress, fleeting moments into purposeful experiences, and potential into reality. Direct attention deliberately, act consistently, and live aligned with priorities. The quality of life is determined by the quality of attention. Focusing on what matters allows clarity to replace confusion, progress to replace stagnation, and fulfillment to replace regret. Every day is an opportunity to train the mind, prioritize what counts, and act with purpose. Focus transforms intentions into action, chaos into clarity, and potential into results. Practicing this consistently reshapes life, from scattered and reactive to intentional and empowered. Chapter 3: Challenge your fears to step beyond your comfort zone. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in life. It can protect you, but it can also limit you, holding you back from opportunities, growth, and experiences that could transform your existence. Everyone experiences fear. It is not a sign of weakness, but a natural response to the unknown. The key is not to eliminate fear entirely, because that is impossible, but to understand it, confront it, and act despite it. Stepping beyond your comfort zone is where real growth begins. Comfort zones are safe, predictable, and familiar, but they are also restrictive. They limit your perspective, your skills, and your potential. Growth exists in the space beyond what feels easy, beyond what is routine and secure. Challenging fear requires clarity about what is worth pursuing. Begin by identifying the fears that are shaping your decisions. Is it the fear of failure, rejection, uncertainty, or judgment? Write them down, not to dwell on them, but to face them objectively. Naming your fears diminishes their power and allows you to plan steps to move forward despite them. Once you recognize fear, it is important to shift your perspective. Fear is often a signal, not a barrier. It tells you that something matters to you, that the action ahead has significance. Instead of avoiding it, interpret fear as guidance. If you feel fear, it is often pointing you toward growth, opportunity, and transformation. Small, deliberate steps are essential for challenging fear. You do not have to take enormous leaps immediately. Incremental actions create momentum and build confidence. Begin with tasks that stretch you slightly beyond familiarity, then expand gradually. Each successful step reinforces courage and reduces the intensity of fear. Action is the antidote to fear. Fear thrives in inaction, in overthinking, and in imagined consequences. By moving forward despite fear, you weaken its hold. Taking action, even imperfect action, signals to your mind that uncertainty is navigable and that you are capable of handling challenges. Preparation enhances courage. Understanding the situation, anticipating obstacles, and equipping yourself with knowledge and resources reduces the unknown and strengthens confidence. Fear diminishes when you feel prepared to handle what comes. Facing fear also requires resilience. The first attempt beyond your comfort zone may not succeed. Setbacks are inevitable, but they do not define your capacity. Each failure provides critical information, teaches a lesson, and strengthens resolve. Resilience turns fear into a teacher rather than a prison. Challenge often triggers discomfort, and discomfort is a sign that you are stretching your limits. Embrace the tension rather than fleeing from it. Discomfort signals growth. The more you expose yourself to controlled discomfort, the more your mind and body adapt, making what was once intimidating feel manageable over time. Fear can be amplified by isolation. Share your goals and challenges with trusted individuals who support growth. Encouragement, guidance, and accountability create a network that sustains action in the face of fear. Human connection reduces the weight of uncertainty and strengthens resolve. Visualization is a practical tool to confront fear. Mentally rehearsing the actions you are afraid to take, imagining positive outcomes, and preparing for challenges builds confidence. The mind becomes familiar with success even before the action occurs, reducing anxiety and hesitation. Fear often thrives on what could go wrong. Counter this by considering what could go right. Focus on potential outcomes, growth, and the benefits that lie beyond the fear. Shifting focus from loss to gain motivates action and strengthens courage. Mindset matters. Replace beliefs that fear equals danger with the understanding that fear signals opportunity. The courage to act despite fear is a skill that grows stronger with practice. Each deliberate confrontation with fear builds a mental and emotional muscle that becomes easier to use over time. Journaling experiences with fear enhances insight. Record what fears arose, what steps you took, and what lessons emerged. Reflecting on progress reinforces confidence and highlights patterns that can be addressed strategically. Fear can be physical, emotional, or mental. Recognize its form in each situation. Physical fear manifests as tension, rapid heartbeat, or shallow breathing. Emotional fear triggers doubt, hesitation, or anxiety. Mental fear creates stories about failure or inadequacy. Awareness of these forms allows targeted strategies to respond effectively. Fear can also be minimized by controlling preparation, environment, and mindset simultaneously. Create conditions that support success. Remove unnecessary distractions, anticipate challenges, and strengthen mental resilience before stepping into discomfort. The habit of challenging fear extends beyond major life events. Daily practice in small decisions strengthens courage over time. Speak in situations where you normally remain silent. Initiate conversations with people who inspire growth. Try tasks that seem slightly intimidating. Each small victory reinforces the ability to confront larger fears. Fear often distorts reality, exaggerating risks and minimizing your ability to cope. Objective assessment of threats, resources, and probabilities reduces fear's intensity. Ask yourself, what is the real likelihood of failure? What is within my control? How can I respond effectively? Action guided by reason and preparation reduces unnecessary anxiety. Fear can be a barrier to creativity, innovation, and progress. Trying something new, taking on challenges, or exploring untested paths often evokes fear because the outcome is unknown. Pushing beyond fear allows potential to be realized, skills to be developed, and life to expand beyond limitation. Courage is not absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite fear. Every step taken into discomfort strengthens the habit of courage, making future challenges less intimidating. Recognize and celebrate progress. Each time you confront fear, acknowledge the action, the learning, and the growth. Positive reinforcement motivates continued engagement with challenges and reduces avoidance patterns. Stepping beyond your comfort zone reshapes identity. As you act in spite of fear, you see yourself as capable, resilient, and adaptable. Your self-image shifts from one of limitation to one of possibility. This internal transformation drives sustained growth across multiple areas of life. Fear can be contagious. Surround yourself with people who confront challenges, pursue growth, and embrace discomfort. Observing others handle fear effectively provides models for action and reinforces belief in your own capability. Accountability amplifies courage. Commit to taking action publicly or within trusted networks. The sense of responsibility encourages follow-through even when fear arises. Fear often thrives on uncertainty about outcomes. Focus on controllable actions rather than results. By dedicating attention to preparation, effort, and learning, the mind can move forward without paralysis. Confronting fear also builds perspective. Experiences once intimidating often appear manageable in hindsight, demonstrating that courage grows through exposure and repetition. This perspective strengthens confidence for future challenges. Fear can be reduced through visualization of consequences managed successfully. Imagining scenarios, planning responses, and rehearsing strategies creates familiarity, reduces surprise, and increases readiness. Courage is contagious within the mind. Each act of confronting fear reinforces neural pathways associated with confidence, problem-solving, and resilience. With repeated practice, challenging fear becomes instinctive. But fear will always exist, but the ability to act despite fear transforms its power into a tool for growth rather than a cage. Life rewards those willing to step beyond comfort. Opportunities, experiences, and personal transformation are rarely found within safe boundaries. Growth requires movement into uncertainty and courage to face the unknown. Fear also teaches humility. Acknowledging it provides insight into areas of insecurity, limitation, and growth potential. Use this information strategically rather than avoiding challenges. Deliberate discomfort trains discipline, patience, and perseverance. Confronting fear regularly strengthens the mind, body, and spirit. The more you engage with fear consciously, the less it dominates your choices. Reflection after each act of courage solidifies lessons learned. Analyze what worked, what can be improved, and how growth occurred. This reflection ensures fear continues to be a teacher rather than an obstacle. Fear often diminishes when attention is redirected from imagined catastrophe to immediate action. Focus on concrete steps, one movement at a time, rather than overwhelming scenarios. Courage grows with repetition. The more fear is faced deliberately, the more natural it becomes to act despite it. Each experience reinforces the habit of stepping beyond comfort and strengthens self-belief. Fear challenges complacency. Complacency maintains comfort but restricts achievement. By confronting fear, life becomes a continuous process of expansion, learning, and discovery. Each act beyond the comfort zone compounds into profound personal transformation. Life rewards courage. Opportunities, connections, and experiences emerge when fear is confronted. Avoiding fear guarantees stagnation, while confronting it consistently produces momentum, confidence, and fulfillment. Taking action despite fear demonstrates mastery over self, environment, and circumstances. Fear is temporary. Growth is lasting. By deliberately engaging with fear, you transform limitation into possibility, hesitation into action, and doubt into confidence. The habit of courage compounds, shaping identity, character, and destiny. Challenge fear relentlessly, embrace discomfort consciously, and step beyond the boundaries of familiarity. Every action strengthens resilience, expands potential, and reveals capabilities previously hidden. The life you desire exists beyond fear. By choosing courage over avoidance, intentionality over hesitation, and action over inaction, you unlock growth, freedom, and fulfillment that comfort could never provide. Chapter 40. Observe your thoughts to understand your inner patterns clearly. Thoughts are the lens through which life is interpreted, and understanding them is essential to mastering yourself. Most people move through their days reacting to ideas and beliefs that arise automatically, without ever pausing to examine their source or validity. Observing your thoughts is not about judging yourself or silencing the mind, but about becoming aware of the patterns that shape behavior, emotions, and decisions. It is about noticing recurring themes, impulses, and assumptions so that you can direct your energy intentionally rather than being swept along by habit. Begin by setting aside time each day for observation. Sit quietly, breathe, and allow your mind to wander naturally. Instead of attempting to control or suppress thoughts, simply watch them. Notice which ideas appear frequently, which trigger strong emotions, and which guide your behavior unconsciously. Recognizing these patterns provides insight into how past experiences, beliefs, and fears influence present actions. Thoughts often repeat without conscious notice. You might find yourself replaying conversations, worrying about outcomes, or imagining scenarios that never occur. Observing these tendencies highlights where energy is wasted and where redirection is necessary. The act of observation creates distance between you and your thoughts. Instead of being consumed, you can witness them objectively, understanding that they are signals, not directives. This creates the possibility for choice. Journaling is a practical method to track thought patterns. Write down recurring ideas, emotional reactions, and the contexts in which they arise. Over time, you will begin to notice cycles and triggers, revealing opportunities to respond differently. Patterns often reflect beliefs formed long ago, many of which no longer serve you. Observing these allows conscious evaluation: which beliefs are constructive, which are limiting, which should be released. Awareness of patterns also reveals how the mind prioritizes concerns. You may notice an overemphasis on negative possibilities, self-criticism, or comparison to others. Simply seeing this bias provides the power to shift attention toward productive and empowering directions. Observation strengthens self-regulation. By noticing impulses as they appear, you gain the capacity to pause before acting. Decisions can then be based on conscious choice rather than automatic reaction. Repeated observation builds mental clarity, creating a more precise understanding of how you think and why. Understanding your inner patterns helps identify hidden motivations. Emotions, desires, and fears often drive decisions beneath conscious awareness. Observing thought streams reveals these influences, enabling choices that are aligned with goals and values rather than conditioned reflexes. Attention to thoughts should be non-judgmental. Do not label ideas as good or bad. Simply acknowledge them, trace their origin, and assess their usefulness. Judgment can create resistance or repression, while neutral observation promotes insight and clarity. Observing thoughts also enhances creativity and problem-solving. By watching ideas without immediately reacting, new connections and solutions become visible. The mind generates options that are often overlooked in habitual thinking. Observation reveals recurring fears that constrain action. You may notice a constant inner narrative of doubt, limitation, or avoidance. Recognizing this narrative allows deliberate challenge and replacement with constructive thought patterns. Mental observation is strengthened by conscious breathing. Pausing to take deliberate breaths centers attention, quiets mental noise, and improves the capacity to notice subtle patterns. Breath anchors awareness in the present moment. Thoughts are often linked to physical sensations. Observing the body alongside the mind provides additional insight. Notice tension, restlessness, or energy shifts as certain ideas arise. This connection clarifies which thoughts trigger emotional or physiological responses and informs how to respond. Observation exposes self-sabotaging patterns. You may see tendencies to procrastinate, overthink, or overcommit. Recognizing these cycles creates the possibility to intervene intentionally, adjusting habits to support growth rather than hinder it. Thought observation strengthens resilience. By watching ideas without attachment, the mind becomes flexible and adaptable. Challenges are perceived more clearly, emotional reactions are tempered, and decisions are made with greater composure. Observing the mind uncovers subconscious assumptions, beliefs about capability, worthiness, or the world shape behavior without awareness. Once identified, these assumptions can be evaluated, confirmed, or corrected to align with conscious intentions. Thought observation increases focus and concentration. By noticing distraction, wandering attention, or irrelevant mental chatter, you can redirect energy toward meaningful goals. This practice reinforces discipline and cultivates purposeful engagement with life. Observing thoughts also nurtures emotional intelligence. Recognizing which ideas generate fear, anger, joy, or curiosity allows deeper understanding of personal emotional responses. Awareness of emotional triggers enhances control and insight. Inner patterns often emerge in cycles. Noticing repetition in thinking helps predict reactions, anticipate challenges, and respond proactively. This foresight is critical in both personal and professional life. Thought observation is essential for decision-making. When the mind is cluttered with automatic reactions or unconscious patterns, choices are often reactive rather than intentional. Observing ideas clarifies priorities, potential outcomes, and appropriate actions. Observation reveals the impact of external influence. Social pressures, media, and environment shape many recurring thoughts. Identifying these influences enables selective attention to information and ideas that genuinely support growth. Practicing thought observation strengthens mindfulness. As awareness of mental patterns deepens, presence in the moment improves. Life is experienced more fully, and actions become aligned with conscious values rather than automatic habits. Recognizing recurring mental habits allows for strategic intervention. Replace thoughts that foster anxiety, doubt, or stagnation with ideas that encourage action, confidence, and learning. This process transforms the internal landscape. Observing thoughts cultivates patience. Insights rarely appear instantly. Repeated, consistent practice allows subtle patterns to emerge and understanding to deepen over time. Patience reinforces both observation and personal growth. Inner observation fosters humility. Awareness of biases, assumptions, and conditioned responses reminds you that the mind is not infallible. Recognizing limitations creates space for learning and development. Observing thought patterns enhances problem anticipation. Recognizing habitual reactions allows preparation for challenges before they arise, reducing unnecessary stress and improving adaptability. Awareness encourages clarity in communication. By understanding your mental patterns, you can express ideas more intentionally, respond thoughtfully, and reduce conflict caused by unconscious reactions. Observing thoughts strengthens self-confidence. Understanding why you react or feel certain ways reduces internal confusion and empowers deliberate action. Observation also reveals opportunities for improvement. By noting recurring mistakes, doubts, or avoidance behaviors, actionable steps for refinement become evident, creating a roadmap for progress. Inner observation provides freedom. Awareness of mental patterns reduces the power of unconscious fears, limiting beliefs, and reactive tendencies. Conscious recognition allows choice and intentional living. Thought observation enhances strategic thinking. By noticing recurring ideas and patterns, long-term planning becomes more precise and effective, informed by understanding of internal tendencies. Observation also nurtures gratitude and perspective. Noticing habitual focus on problems highlights areas of life often taken for granted, creating space for appreciation and balance. Awareness of mental activity is the foundation for personal transformation. Without insight into internal patterns, growth is reactive, inconsistent, and incomplete. Observation ensures actions and decisions are informed, intentional, and aligned with personal values. Observing thoughts encourages emotional regulation. Recognizing when worry, anger, or frustration arises allows pause, assessment, and deliberate response, reducing impulsive reactions. Thought patterns are not fixed. Observation demonstrates flexibility. Repeated awareness allows replacement of unhelpful ideas with constructive, empowering alternatives, creating sustainable change. Observation strengthens self-mastery. By consistently monitoring the mind, control over impulses, decisions, and reactions increases, leading to purposeful and effective living. Inner patterns reveal connection between thought, emotion, and behavior. Observing this relationship clarifies which habits serve goals and which hinder progress, allowing targeted adjustment. Practicing observation fosters mental resilience. By understanding recurring stress triggers and habitual reactions, strategies can be developed to manage challenges calmly and efficiently. Observing thoughts encourages intentional curiosity. Instead of assuming reactions are fixed or unavoidable, explore the root causes, implications, and alternative perspectives. Observation illuminates opportunities for action. Recognizing patterns that limit progress provides the awareness needed to intervene strategically, replace counterproductive habits, and pursue meaningful growth. Awareness of thought patterns develops wisdom. By examining recurring ideas, emotional triggers, and mental responses, insights emerge that guide behavior, choices, and long-term development. Observing thoughts cultivates a stable sense of self. Awareness of inner patterns reduces influence of external chaos, peer pressure, and fleeting emotion, creating a foundation of consistency and inner strength. Chapter 50. Control your emotions to respond instead of reacting automatically. Emotions are powerful forces that shape perception, decisions, and actions. Left unchecked, they dictate reactions, create conflict, and often lead to regret. Learning to control emotions is not about suppression or denial, but about cultivating the ability to respond deliberately. Emotional mastery transforms daily life, strengthens relationships, and enhances personal effectiveness. The first step toward emotional control is recognition. Notice the rise of feelings as they appear. Observe the triggers, the intensity, and the bodily sensations associated with each emotion. Awareness creates a space between stimulus and reaction, allowing choice rather than impulsivity. Recognizing patterns in emotional responses is essential. Certain situations consistently evoke anger, fear, frustration, or anxiety. By observing these patterns over time, it becomes possible to anticipate emotional reactions and prepare responses aligned with values and goals. Emotional control requires acceptance. Denying or resisting feelings often intensifies them. Instead, acknowledge emotions fully, labeling them accurately. Awareness and acknowledgement neutralize the automatic charge that drives reactive behavior. Breath is a practical tool for regulating emotional intensity. Deliberate, slow breathing engages the nervous system, reduces stress, and restores clarity. When a strong feeling arises, pausing to breathe intentionally allows the mind to regain composure and consider the most effective response. Emotional regulation also depends on reframing perception. The way a situation is interpreted determines the emotional response. Choosing to view challenges as opportunities or learning experiences shifts the internal state from panic, anger, or despair to calm, focus, and constructive action. Reflection enhances emotional control. After a situation that provoked strong feelings, review the events, your responses, and the outcome. Analyze whether the reaction was productive or counterproductive. Reflection strengthens the mind's ability to respond differently in the future. Emotional mastery involves separating facts from interpretation. Often, strong feelings arise not from reality, but from the meaning assigned to it. By questioning assumptions and clarifying facts, emotional intensity diminishes and rational responses become accessible. Deliberate action is the next step. Once aware of the emotion and its source, choose a response that aligns with long-term goals rather than immediate impulses. This is the essence of responding rather than reacting. Emotional control also requires boundary setting. Protect energy by identifying situations, environments, or individuals that consistently provoke disruptive emotions. While not all exposure is avoidable, intentional boundaries reduce unnecessary emotional drain and increase capacity for deliberate engagement. Cultivating self-talk supports regulation. The internal dialogue shapes emotional states. Replace automatic negative commentary with supportive, guiding statements that reinforce calm, perspective, and control. Mindfulness practices strengthen the ability to observe and regulate emotions. Regular meditation, body scanning, or focused attention exercises train the mind to notice feelings without immediate reaction. Over time, this creates a habit of measured response. Emotional control is reinforced by physical care. Adequate sleep, nutrition, and exercise influence hormonal balance, energy levels, and resilience. A well-cared-for body supports a well-regulated mind. Awareness of emotional triggers also enables preventive strategies. Identify situations that historically provoke strong reactions and plan steps to navigate them intentionally. Preparation reduces the chance of automatic responses. Response flexibility is a hallmark of mastery. Recognize that no single approach fits every scenario. Adapt the intensity, tone, and timing of responses to the specific context, balancing assertiveness, empathy, and composure. Emotional intelligence enhances relationships. By controlling reactions, communication becomes more constructive, conflicts are resolved more effectively, and trust is strengthened. Others respond positively when interactions are guided by deliberate consideration rather than unchecked impulses. Practicing pausing is critical. When a surge of emotion occurs, even a few seconds of pause, breathing, counting, or internally observing breaks the automatic chain of reaction and opens space for conscious choice. Emotional mastery requires perspective. Consider the long-term implications of reactions. Immediate impulses often escalate situations or create consequences that could have been avoided through calm deliberation. Choosing the long-term view reduces reactivity and promotes intentional action. Journaling emotions reinforces awareness and control. Record the triggers, responses, and alternative strategies for handling feelings. Over time, patterns emerge, providing a roadmap for improved regulation. Awareness of physiological responses is also important. Rapid heartbeat, tense muscles, or shallow breathing signal heightened emotional states. Recognizing these allows timely intervention before reactions become automatic. Emotional control develops patience. Responses are rarely instantaneous. They are shaped by repeated observation, deliberate practice, and reflection. Patience nurtures growth, enabling gradual mastery over impulses. Avoidance undermines control. Facing uncomfortable emotions rather than ignoring them builds resilience and strengthens the capacity for deliberate response. Emotional mastery is not about perfection but progress. Each conscious decision to respond thoughtfully rather than react strengthens the habit and reinforces confidence in handling future challenges. Visualization supports emotional control. Mentally rehearsing potential scenarios and your responses prepares the mind to act intentionally under pressure, reducing fear-driven impulses. Accountability fosters mastery. Sharing goals for emotional regulation with trusted individuals creates external reinforcement, encouragement, and perspective, which support consistent practice. Emotional control is closely tied to clarity of purpose. When priorities and values are clear, reactions align more naturally with long-term objectives rather than fleeting impulses. Reflection on successes reinforces positive behavior. Recognize moments when emotions were managed effectively, noting strategies, cues, and outcomes. This reinforces confidence and provides a template for future situations. Emotional regulation requires self-compassion. Mistakes and lapses are inevitable. Responding with judgment or self-criticism intensifies negative states. Acknowledging error, learning from it, and returning to practice strengthens resilience. Practice distinguishing between reactive and deliberate responses. Analyze situations where reactions were automatic and contrast with instances of thoughtful engagement. Understanding the difference informs future behavior. Emotional control enhances decision-making. When reactions are measured, choices reflect priorities, logic, and values rather than short-term impulses. This improves results across life domains. Recognizing emotional contagion is critical. Emotions in groups or relationships can influence your internal state. Observation and intentional regulation protect attention and energy, enabling independent, considered responses. Emotional mastery increases self-respect. Acting with deliberate control demonstrates integrity, intentionality, and consistency in behavior, reinforcing confidence and self-trust. Awareness of cognitive distortions aids regulation. Identify tendencies to exaggerate, catastrophize, or assume worst-case scenarios. Correcting these patterns reduces emotional intensity and promotes rational responses. Emotional control supports creativity. A calm, measured mind can think strategically, generate solutions, and engage with challenges constructively, whereas reactive emotions often cloud judgment and limit innovation. Practicing empathy enhances regulation. Recognizing others' perspectives and emotions allows measured, compassionate responses rather than impulsive or defensive reactions. Emotional control also develops leadership. Individuals who respond thoughtfully inspire confidence, create stability, and influence others positively. Mastery over emotions is empowering. Each act of deliberate response reinforces the mind's capacity to navigate complexity without being overwhelmed. Control allows freedom. Rather than being enslaved by impulses, desires, or fears, you act in alignment with purpose and principle. Habitual practice is necessary. Emotional mastery is strengthened through daily attention, observation, reflection, and deliberate action, creating long-term resilience and composure. Understanding that emotions are signals rather than commands transforms experience. Feelings provide valuable information about needs, values, and boundaries without dictating immediate behavior. Emotional control strengthens adaptability. By responding thoughtfully, you can navigate unexpected events, stress, and interpersonal challenges with composure and effectiveness. Practicing detachment reinforces mastery. Observing emotions without identification prevents unnecessary escalation, preserving energy for intentional action. Emotional regulation also enhances mental clarity. Without distraction from reactive states, the mind can assess, plan, and execute with precision. Emotional mastery influences physical health. Chronic reactivity increases stress, tension, and fatigue, whereas measured responses reduce strain and support overall well-being. Awareness, practice, and intentionality are essential. Control is not a single skill, but a continuous exercise of attention, reflection, and response. Over time, deliberate action becomes habitual, and emotional reactions shift from chaos to clarity, instinct to strategy, and impulse to choice. The life you desire is shaped by the ability to respond consciously. Mastery over emotion transforms challenges into opportunities, conflict into understanding, and pressure into purposeful action. Each deliberate choice reinforces control, enhances resilience, and strengthens character. Emotional control is a cornerstone of self-mastery and the foundation for intentional living. Chapter 6. Practice gratitude to transform daily experiences into meaningful lessons. Gratitude is a transformative practice that changes the way life is experienced. It is more than saying thank you or acknowledging pleasant moments. It is a conscious choice to recognize the value and meaning in every experience, no matter how small or challenging. Gratitude shifts attention from scarcity to abundance, from complaint to appreciation, and from distraction to presence. The first step in cultivating gratitude is observation. Notice the details of life often overlooked: the warmth of sunlight on the skin, the sound of wind in the trees, a kind word from a stranger, or the simple ability to breathe deeply. Awareness of these details allows appreciation to take root. True gratitude begins internally. It is not dependent on external circumstances, possessions, or outcomes. It arises from the conscious decision to find significance in the present moment and to value what already exists rather than constantly seeking more. Daily reflection strengthens this mindset. Each evening, take time to review the day and identify moments that offered lessons, joy, or connection. Write them down, noting how these experiences contributed to growth or understanding. This practice trains the mind to recognize value in ordinary events. Gratitude transforms challenges into opportunities for learning. Difficult situations, setbacks, or discomfort often carry insights that can be harnessed for personal development. By focusing on what can be learned, the mind shifts from frustration to constructive reflection, extracting meaning from every circumstance. Expressing appreciation to others reinforces gratitude. Acts of kindness, acknowledgement, or simple recognition strengthen relationships and create positive energy. Giving attention to others' contributions enhances awareness of interconnectedness and shared growth. Gratitude encourages patience. By focusing on what is present and meaningful, the desire for immediate results diminishes. The mind becomes capable of enduring challenges without losing sight of progress and value. Emotional resilience is enhanced through appreciation. Recognizing the positive aspects of life, even amid difficulty, buffers against despair, negativity, and frustration. Gratitude creates stability and reduces reactive emotional responses. Small, consistent practices cultivate a habitual sense of gratitude. Begin each day by identifying 3 specific things to appreciate. These do not need to be extraordinary. Even noticing the ability to engage in work, the presence of supportive individuals, or a quiet moment of reflection builds the neural patterns that support grateful thinking. Gratitude strengthens perspective. Observing what is meaningful clarifies priorities, reduces attachment to trivial concerns, and highlights what truly matters. The mind becomes better at distinguishing between fleeting discomforts and enduring value. Mindful awareness enhances the quality of gratitude. Pay attention to sensations, emotions, and interactions. Notice how experiences affect thoughts and feelings, and recognize the positive elements within them. The depth of observation intensifies appreciation. Gratitude also fosters humility. By acknowledging the contributions, circumstances, and support that make achievements possible, the ego is tempered, and a realistic view of one's abilities and environment is maintained. Practicing gratitude improves mental clarity. When attention shifts toward value rather than complaint, cognitive focus strengthens, decisions become clearer, and priorities are easier to recognize. Gratitude nurtures contentment. The mind experiences satisfaction not by eliminating desire but by appreciating what exists. This sense of fulfillment reduces comparison, envy, and distraction. Reflection on past experiences reinforces gratitude. Reviewing difficulties overcome, lessons learned, and growth achieved highlights progress that may otherwise be overlooked. This practice strengthens confidence and reinforces the value of persistence. Gratitude encourages generosity. Recognizing abundance in life naturally leads to sharing knowledge, resources, and support with others. The act of giving reinforces appreciation and strengthens social bonds. Practicing gratitude alters physical health and energy. Studies suggest that regularly recognizing positive experiences reduces stress, strengthens immunity, and increases vitality. Emotional states are closely tied to physiological conditions, and gratitude positively influences both. Gratitude promotes mindfulness in action. By noticing small details and valuing everyday experiences, the mind becomes fully engaged with the present. Activities are performed with attention and intention rather than distraction. Observation of relationships benefits from appreciation. By consciously valuing family, friends, colleagues, and mentors, connections deepen, trust strengthens, and mutual respect grows. Gratitude highlights opportunity. Recognizing the positive elements of situations clarifies potential paths forward and motivates productive engagement with challenges. Gratitude reduces anxiety. Focusing on what is present and beneficial limits rumination over what is missing or uncertain, creating mental space for clarity and calm. Deliberate acknowledgement reinforces habit formation. Repeatedly noticing and valuing experiences trains the mind to default toward appreciation rather than complaint, gradually transforming perception of life itself. Gratitude nurtures creativity. By seeing value in diverse experiences, the mind can generate insights, make connections, and explore solutions that may not be visible in a narrow or negative perspective. Awareness of small wins builds momentum. Recognizing incremental progress, effort, and contributions strengthens motivation, reinforcing the belief that consistent action produces meaningful outcomes. Gratitude supports emotional intelligence. By noticing positive traits in oneself and others, emotional awareness and empathy increase, allowing better understanding and navigation of interpersonal dynamics. The habit of reflection deepens understanding. Each moment of appreciation is an opportunity to examine why it is meaningful, what it teaches, and how it informs future action. Gratitude enhances problem solving. By framing situations in terms of opportunity, learning, and value, the mind is oriented toward constructive solutions rather than dwelling on difficulty or complaint. Gratitude reduces resistance to change. Recognizing benefits in current circumstances fosters acceptance, adaptability, and flexibility, making transitions smoother and challenges more manageable. Practicing gratitude amplifies focus. When attention is directed toward value and significance, distractions lose influence, and energy is directed toward meaningful goals. Gratitude strengthens resilience under stress. Acknowledging what is positive, supportive, or stable in difficult times buffers against despair, strengthens mental endurance, and supports perseverance. Awareness of contribution fosters responsibility. Recognizing the impact of one's actions on others encourages intentional behavior, accountability, and meaningful engagement with the world. Gratitude increases patience with oneself. By appreciating progress rather than fixating on shortcomings, the mind cultivates perseverance, motivation, and balanced self-expectations. Observing the passage of time through gratitude enhances perspective. Recognizing fleeting experiences, accomplishments, and moments of connection fosters presence and encourages valuing the present instead of longing for the past or future. Gratitude reinforces self-mastery. By consistently directing attention toward value, the mind gains control over automatic negativity, complaint, or dissatisfaction, creating space for intentional and constructive thought. Gratitude transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for learning, reflection, and growth. Each interaction, experience, and sensation becomes a potential lesson or insight when approached with conscious awareness. Practicing gratitude encourages long-term vision. By recognizing positive trends, lessons, and resources, future planning becomes clearer and grounded in existing strengths rather than imagined deficits. Gratitude is contagious. Expressing appreciation encourages others to adopt similar perspectives, creating environments of positivity, collaboration, and constructive engagement. Recognition of effort amplifies achievement. Valuing progress, persistence, and contribution motivates continued action, reinforces confidence, and strengthens commitment to goals. Gratitude cultivates balance. Attention to positive aspects of life prevents overemphasis on challenge, loss, or difficulty, fostering emotional equilibrium and sustained motivation. Deliberate practice anchors gratitude in habit. Consistency in noticing, recording, reflecting, and expressing appreciation ensures that the mind defaults toward recognition of value, creating sustained transformation. Gratitude strengthens perspective on adversity. Recognizing the lessons, growth, or resilience cultivated by challenges transforms obstacles into meaningful experiences rather than sources of resentment. The practice of gratitude nurtures fulfillment. By consciously valuing life, relationships, progress, and experience, the mind cultivates contentment, purpose, and a sense of abundance that extends beyond material or external circumstances. Gratitude empowers action. Acknowledging what is meaningful clarifies priorities, motivates engagement, and provides energy to pursue goals with clarity and intention. Chapter 7. Hey. Develop discipline to follow through on intentions consistently every day. Discipline is the foundation of achievement and the bridge between intention and result. Having goals or good intentions alone is not enough. Without consistent effort and follow-through, even the most ambitious plans remain unrealized. Developing discipline is not about forcing yourself harshly or relying solely on motivation, because motivation fluctuates and will fade. Discipline is cultivated through structured habits, self-awareness, and deliberate action that turns daily commitments into consistent practice. Begin by clarifying intentions clearly. Understanding exactly what you want to accomplish creates focus and reduces wasted energy. Ambiguity undermines effort because the mind lacks a concrete target. Break intentions into actionable steps. Large goals can feel overwhelming, which erodes discipline. Dividing tasks into manageable portions makes consistent action achievable and reduces procrastination. Prioritization strengthens follow-through. Identify which actions will have the greatest impact and attend to them first. This ensures that energy is invested in meaningful work rather than scattered efforts. Consistency is more important than intensity. Small, regular actions compound over time, producing results far beyond sporadic bursts of effort. Discipline relies on repetition, not occasional heroics. Establish routines to anchor behavior. Predictable structures reduce the need for constant decision-making and allow habits to form naturally. Routines create momentum, making follow-through less dependent on willpower alone. Tracking progress reinforces consistency. Recording completed actions, achievements, and adherence to routines provides feedback, encourages accountability, and strengthens motivation to maintain effort. Self-awareness is essential. Recognize moments of temptation, distraction, or avoidance. Understanding personal vulnerabilities allows proactive strategies to maintain consistency and prevent derailment. Discipline is strengthened by eliminating unnecessary friction, remove distractions, simplify choices, and create an environment conducive to action. External organization supports internal commitment. Accountability enhances follow-through. Sharing intentions with trusted individuals or creating systems for self-monitoring increases the likelihood of action because responsibility is reinforced externally. Focus attention on the process rather than outcomes. While goals define direction, daily actions determine success. Valuing consistent effort over immediate results reinforces discipline and reduces discouragement when progress seems slow. Resilience supports disciplined behavior. Obstacles, setbacks, and interruptions are inevitable. Maintaining commitment despite challenges strengthens mental fortitude and prevents inconsistency from undermining progress. Willpower alone is insufficient. Discipline is built through habit formation, environmental design, and deliberate structure rather than relying on fleeting strength of character. Understanding personal patterns enhances effectiveness. Recognize times of peak energy, focus, and clarity, and schedule important actions during these periods. Aligning effort with natural rhythms maximizes consistency. Rewarding effort reinforces behavior. Celebrate small achievements, completion of steps, or adherence to routines. Positive reinforcement strengthens neural pathways that support habitual follow-through. Patience is critical. Significant results emerge gradually. Recognizing that progress is the sum of repeated actions over time helps maintain discipline, even when immediate outcomes are not evident. Reflection supports improvement. Regularly assess what is working, what is not, and adjust strategies accordingly. Thoughtful evaluation ensures our actions remain aligned with intentions and enhances consistency. Discipline thrives on simplicity. Focus on essential actions rather than overcomplicating routines or creating unnecessary steps. Clear, straightforward practices are easier to maintain daily. Visualization strengthens commitment. Mentally rehearsing actions, processes, and the satisfaction of completion prepares the mind to follow through when challenges or distractions arise. Discipline is reinforced by purpose. Understanding why actions matter, how they contribute to larger goals, and what impact they have sustains effort even when motivation dips. Mindset shapes behavior. Believing that effort matters, that consistent action produces results, and that setbacks are part of the process fosters persistence and strengthens self-trust. Deliberate scheduling prevents neglect. Allocating specific times for important tasks reduces the risk of procrastination and ensures that intentions are consistently acted upon. Flexibility is part of disciplined practice. While consistency is vital, adapting to unforeseen circumstances without abandoning commitment prevents discouragement and maintains forward momentum. Mental preparation enhances follow-through. Anticipating challenges, visualizing solutions, and planning responses reduces the likelihood of deviation from intended actions. Discipline grows through incremental improvement. Focus on enhancing performance, habits, or actions slightly each day. Gradual refinement compounds into substantial mastery over time. Self-discipline requires monitoring internal dialogue. Replace thoughts that rationalize avoidance with reminders of purpose, consequence, and long-term benefit. Mental reinforcement supports consistent action. Habits are the backbone of discipline. By repeating desired actions under structured conditions, effort becomes automatic and less reliant on conscious decision-making. Structured repetition reduces the energy required to maintain consistency. Awareness of triggers for distraction or procrastination allows proactive intervention. Recognizing situations or emotions that lead to lapses enables planning to prevent or mitigate them. Discipline extends beyond work or productivity. Consistent practice in personal development, health, relationships, and learning strengthens overall resilience and cultivates a life oriented around intentional action. Embracing discomfort reinforces consistency. Growth often requires effort that is not immediately pleasurable. Choosing action despite discomfort solidifies discipline and reinforces long-term commitment. Focus on process mastery rather than perfection. Attempting flawless execution can create paralysis, whereas emphasizing consistent action encourages momentum and sustained follow-through. External cues support adherence. Visual reminders, structured environments, and prompts reduce reliance on memory or willpower alone, enhancing the likelihood of consistent action. Self-compassion sustains practice. Lapses are inevitable. Responding with reflection, adjustment, and renewed commitment maintains momentum rather than undermining progress through guilt or judgment. Discipline benefits from review and planning. Setting aside time to review intentions, assess completion, and plan upcoming actions strengthens structure, awareness, and readiness for consistent execution. Accountability systems amplify effort. Partnering with others, reporting progress, or using measurable targets creates reinforcement and encourages adherence to commitments. Discipline strengthens autonomy. By mastering the ability to follow through, reliance on external motivation diminishes and control over outcomes increases. Focused attention amplifies results. Avoid multitasking and prioritize single task execution to ensure that consistent effort produces tangible outcomes. Discipline requires understanding limits. Recognize fatigue, overload, or resource constraints and adjust practice to sustain consistency rather than risking burnout or abandonment. Repetition builds confidence. Each day of successful follow-through reinforces belief in capability and strengthens the neural patterns that support continued adherence. Intentional prioritization prevents diffusion of effort. By concentrating on actions that matter most, time and energy are applied efficiently, enhancing the effectiveness of disciplined behavior. Discipline nurtures resilience to external interference. The ability to maintain action in the face of distraction, criticism, or disruption reflects strength of habit, clarity of purpose, and internal motivation. Daily reflection integrates learning, observing what actions were effective, which strategies supported consistency, and where improvements are needed creates continuous refinement and enhances the long-term power of discipline. Discipline expands capacity. Repeatedly committing to and completing actions strengthens mental stamina, focus, and the ability to sustain effort across increasingly complex goals. Maintaining awareness of progress prevents stagnation. Recognizing advancement motivates continued action, reinforcing habits and commitment to long-term objectives. Each deliberate act of follow-through compounds. Consistent action builds momentum that extends beyond isolated tasks, influencing behavior, mindset, and results across all areas of life. Discipline transforms intention into achievement. The bridge between what is imagined and what is accomplished is built through daily, deliberate, consistent action. Commitment, structure, self-awareness, and reflection create the momentum necessary to convert goals into tangible outcomes. Developing discipline is not an instant achievement, but a lifelong practice. Each conscious choice to act consistently reinforces capability, builds character, and strengthens the foundation for meaningful, sustained progress in all dimensions of life. Chapter 80. Visualize your goals to make them achievable and realistic soon. Visualization is a powerful tool that transforms abstract goals into tangible outcomes. The act of imagining success engages the mind in a way that strengthens clarity, focus, and determination. Visualization is not daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is a deliberate, structured practice that aligns thought, emotion, and action toward achieving specific objectives. Begin by clearly defining what you want to achieve. The mind cannot work effectively with vague ideas. Detail the goal precisely, noting not only the end result but the steps, milestones, and behaviors required to reach it. Picture the process as vividly as the outcome. Envision the actions you will take, the obstacles you will face, and the solutions you will implement. This mental rehearsal prepares the mind to act decisively when real situations arise. Engage all senses when visualizing. See the environment, hear the sounds, feel the textures, and sense the emotions associated with success. Multi-sensory engagement strengthens neural connections and makes the goal feel tangible and achievable. Consistency amplifies effectiveness. Daily visualization reinforces the mind's understanding of priorities, creates mental familiarity with desired outcomes, and conditions the brain to recognize opportunities that support achievement. Combine visualization with emotion. Imagine the satisfaction, pride, or relief that comes with completing each step and reaching the goal. Emotional engagement energizes motivation and reinforces commitment. Break the goal into specific, manageable segments. Visualize each component separately, focusing on the actions, mindset, and strategies required for success. This prevents overwhelm and builds confidence as each step is mentally mastered. Anticipate challenges and imagine responses. Effective visualization includes potential setbacks and obstacles, along with deliberate strategies for overcoming them. This reduces fear, prepares the mind for problem-solving, and strengthens resilience. Connect visualization to physical action. After imagining steps and outcomes, take real-world measures to enact them. Visualization is most powerful when paired with consistent, tangible effort toward the goal. Use visualization to strengthen focus. When distractions arise, returning to a vivid mental image of your goal redirects attention, restores clarity, and renews determination. Mental rehearsal improves decision-making. By repeatedly imagining scenarios, responses, and outcomes, the mind develops pattern recognition, foresight, and the ability to act decisively under pressure. Visualization encourages creative problem solving. Imagining multiple approaches to challenges stimulates innovative thinking and uncovers solutions that may not emerge under reactive conditions. Incorporate temporal structure into visualization. Imagine milestones occurring at specific times, creating a realistic timeline that connects present actions to future results. This enforces accountability and strategic planning. Recognize the link between visualization and belief. Repeated mental rehearsal reinforces the sense of possibility, reducing self-doubt and strengthening confidence in the ability to achieve the goal. Visualization nurtures patience. By imagining the step-by-step process, the mind becomes comfortable with incremental progress, understanding that significant outcomes require sustained effort and persistence. Record visualizations to enhance clarity. Writing down mental images, scenarios, and strategies reinforces detail, consolidates memory, and provides a reference for future reflection and refinement. Visualization supports emotional regulation. When stress or uncertainty arises, recalling a practiced image of success stabilizes emotions, strengthens composure, and enables deliberate action. Align visualization with values. Imagined outcomes should reflect personal principles and long-term purpose. Goals that resonate deeply create sustained commitment and prevent distraction by superficial desires. Include others in your visualizations when relevant. Mentally rehearsing interactions, collaborations, or negotiations prepares communication, increases empathy, and improves relational outcomes. Visualization strengthens motivation. The more vividly and frequently a goal is imagined, the more compelling it becomes, driving consistent effort even when external rewards are distant. Use imagery to simulate success conditions. Imagine environments, tools, and resources needed for achievement. This mental preparation reduces uncertainty and accelerates real-world execution. Visualization reinforces self-discipline. By repeatedly seeing yourself completing tasks, adhering to routines, and overcoming obstacles, the mind internalizes persistence as natural behavior. Combine visualization with affirmation. Pair mental images with declarative statements about capability, focus, and commitment to deepen belief and internalize confidence. Observe progress in your mind. Mentally track milestones achieved and remaining steps. Visualization of progress reinforces momentum and clarifies what remains to be done. Practice mental contrasting. Visualize both the goal and the current reality, identifying gaps and planning actions to bridge them. This strengthens strategic planning and reduces complacency. Visualization enhances resilience to setbacks. By mentally rehearsing difficulties and adaptive responses, emotional impact is reduced and recovery is faster when challenges arise. Include sensory cues linked to effort. Imagine physical sensations associated with action, such as movement, tension, or exertion, to prepare the body and mind for practical execution. Adjust visualization over time. As goals evolve or new information arises, update mental images to reflect current priorities, maintaining relevance and accuracy. Integrate visualization with gratitude. Recognize the resources, support, and skills that facilitate goal achievement. Appreciation strengthens motivation and reinforces action. Visualization reinforces commitment to standards. Mentally practicing high-quality performance creates expectations for real-world execution, raising the level of consistency and excellence. Observe emotional responses during visualization. Notice enthusiasm, hesitation, or doubt, and use this insight to address limiting beliefs or reinforce confidence. Use visualization to rehearse decision-making under uncertainty. Imagining possible scenarios enhances adaptability, judgment, and strategic thinking in real-world situations. Visualization nurtures a proactive mindset. By mentally anticipating obstacles and opportunities, the mind becomes oriented toward action rather than reaction. Pair visualization with measurement. Mentally assess progress toward milestones and desired outcomes, reinforcing accountability and strategic planning. Use visualization to internalize timing. Mentally pacing actions and rehearsing deadlines improves efficiency, planning, and adherence to schedules. Practice immersive visualization. The deeper and more detailed the mental rehearsal, the more effectively the mind integrates the goal into daily behavior. Visualization strengthens belief in capability. Each mental success reinforces confidence, reduces fear, and encourages bolder action toward achieving objectives. Pair visualization with reflection. After mental rehearsal, review imagined strategies, identify gaps, and refine plans to improve execution. Visualization enhances adaptability. Mentally rehearsing alternative scenarios prepares the mind to adjust quickly and effectively when unexpected circumstances occur. Combine visualization with action triggers. Use specific cues in daily life to recall mental rehearsals, maintaining alignment between intention and behavior. Visualization reinforces patience and persistence. By imagining the step-by-step journey toward the goal, the mind becomes resilient to delays, obstacles, and slow progress. Include emotional regulation in visualization. Mentally rehearse responding calmly to frustration, rejection, or uncertainty to strengthen composure and decision-making in real-world situations. Visualization strengthens integration of learning. Mentally practicing new skills, strategies, or behaviors before executing them in reality accelerates mastery and reduces error. Use visualization to align priorities. Mentally rehearsing decisions clarifies what matters most, ensuring actions focus on meaningful outcomes. Visualization amplifies awareness of consequences. By mentally examining the effects of different actions, the mind becomes more deliberate, strategic, and intentional. Integrate visualization with feedback. Mentally simulate receiving and responding to critique or guidance, preparing the mind to use input constructively. Visualization encourages sustained focus. Regular rehearsal keeps attention directed toward meaningful objectives, reducing distraction and enhancing productivity. Use visualization to rehearse resilience under pressure. Mentally experiencing high-stress scenarios strengthens capacity to remain effective and composed. Visualization bridges imagination and reality. Each mental rehearsal translates into more precise action, stronger confidence, and increased likelihood of achieving goals. Chapter 19. Invest in learning to expand your mind and understanding continuously. Learning is the most powerful investment a person can make because it multiplies every other resource in life. Expanding the mind requires consistent effort, curiosity, and openness to new perspectives. Knowledge alone is not enough. Understanding must be actively sought, applied, and refined to create meaningful growth. The first step is cultivating curiosity. Approach life with a desire to explore, question, and discover. Curiosity transforms everyday experiences into opportunities for insight, encouraging active engagement rather than passive observation. Seek diverse sources of knowledge. Reading, listening, observing, and discussing ideas from different disciplines broadens perspective and fosters creativity. Exposure to multiple viewpoints challenges assumptions and encourages critical thinking. Set clear learning goals. Identify specific skills, concepts, or areas of understanding to pursue. Goals provide direction and prevent scattered or superficial engagement. Break complex topics into manageable components. Mastery begins with grasping fundamental concepts before progressing to advanced ideas. Structured learning ensures depth rather than surface-level familiarity. Practice active engagement. Take notes, summarize concepts, ask questions, and reflect on applications. Active involvement deepens understanding and strengthens memory retention. Apply knowledge immediately. Ideas gain power when put into practice. Experimentation, problem solving, and implementation consolidate learning and reveal practical value. Reflect on experiences. After applying new knowledge, review outcomes, challenges, and lessons learned. Reflection strengthens insight, supports adaptation, and guides future learning. Embrace lifelong learning as a mindset rather than a task. The world evolves constantly, and continuous adaptation is essential for growth, relevance, and resilience. Challenge assumptions regularly. Re-examine beliefs, biases, and interpretations. Questioning what is taken for granted prevents stagnation and opens pathways to deeper understanding. Learn from mistakes intentionally. Errors provide data about what works, what does not, and how improvement is possible. Treat failures as experiments rather than defeats. Seek feedback actively. Input from others offers perspective, identifies blind spots, and accelerates development. Constructive critique is a catalyst for growth. Develop discipline in learning. consistency in study, practice, and reflection is more impactful than occasional bursts of effort. Daily commitment compounds into mastery over time. Balance breadth and depth. Explore a wide range of topics to foster adaptability and creativity, but dedicate focused effort to areas of strategic or personal importance. Cultivate observation skills. Attention to detail, patterns, and subtleties enhances understanding and uncovers insights that may be missed by superficial engagement. Incorporate discussion and dialogue. Engaging with others about ideas deepens comprehension, challenges assumptions, and exposes new perspectives that enrich knowledge. Maintain intellectual humility. Acknowledge limits of understanding and be willing to revise opinions. Humility fosters openness, learning from others, and continuous improvement. Prioritize quality over quantity. Depth of comprehension outweighs the accumulation of disconnected facts. Focused, meaningful engagement produces sustainable insight. Integrate knowledge across contexts. Recognizing connections between disciplines, experiences, and ideas multiplies understanding and enables innovative thinking. Apply critical thinking consistently. Evaluate information objectively, identify biases, and distinguish between evidence-based conclusions and assumptions. Critical thinking ensures that learning is accurate, relevant, and actionable. Embrace complexity without being overwhelmed. Recognize that nuanced understanding takes time and effort. Approach complex problems with patience and strategic analysis. Develop memory strategies. Techniques such as repetition, visualization, association, and summarization enhance retention and accessibility of knowledge. Leverage technology wisely. Digital tools, courses, and resources can accelerate learning when used purposefully rather than as distractions. Maintain curiosity about people. Understanding behavior, motivations, and perspectives deepens empathy, strengthens relationships, and informs decision-making. Stay updated with developments. Continuous learning requires awareness of evolving trends, research, and discoveries in areas relevant to personal and professional growth. Practice teaching and explaining. Sharing knowledge with others clarifies understanding, reinforces memory, and exposes gaps that require further study. Integrate learning into daily life. Small, consistent practices such as reading, reflecting, or observing reinforce habits and make growth habitual rather than sporadic. Balance absorption with application. Consuming information is valuable, but practical use transforms it into skill, insight, and wisdom. Use failure as a learning tool. Analyze what went wrong, what was missed, and what can be done differently next time. This approach turns setbacks into catalysts for growth. Embrace diverse challenges. Tackling tasks outside comfort zones develops adaptability, resilience, and creative problem-solving. Curiosity fuels exploration. Ask why, how, and what if regularly to deepen understanding and uncover layers of insight that might otherwise be ignored. Seek mentors and role models. Learning from those who have demonstrated mastery accelerates understanding, provides guidance, and inspires disciplined effort. Cultivate patience with learning. Mastery is gradual. Sustained effort, reflection, and adaptation produce depth of understanding over time. Integrate learning with purpose. Identify how new knowledge supports goals, values, and aspirations to maintain motivation and ensure practical application. Observe patterns in success and failure. Recognizing recurring themes in outcomes provides insight into effective strategies, behaviors, and decisions. Diversify learning methods. Combine reading, listening, experimentation, and discussion to reinforce understanding and cater to different cognitive processes. Reflect on personal growth. Periodically assess what has been learned, skills acquired, and how thinking has evolved. Recognition of progress reinforces commitment and self-confidence. Prioritize understanding over validation. Focus on gaining insight rather than seeking approval for what is known. True learning is independent of external recognition. Connect learning to problem solving. Apply knowledge to real-world challenges to reinforce relevance, enhance comprehension, and develop practical competence. Foster intellectual resilience. Maintain curiosity and engagement even when topics are difficult, ambiguous, or initially discouraging. Adapt strategies as needed to overcome obstacles. Cultivate the ability to learn from observation. Careful attention to patterns, behaviors, and outcomes in others' actions provides valuable insights without direct trial and error. Embrace interdisciplinary connections. Drawing lessons from multiple fields creates innovative solutions, deepens comprehension, and encourages flexible thinking. Use journaling to reinforce learning. Recording insights, reflections, and applications strengthens retention, clarifies understanding, and provides a resource for future growth. Develop questioning skills. Asking precise, thoughtful questions uncovers underlying principles, challenges assumptions, and accelerates understanding. Maintain focus during study. Avoid multitasking or distractions that fragment attention. Deep engagement enhances comprehension and retention. Integrate feedback into practice. Adjust behavior, strategies, or understanding based on new information to refine skill and knowledge continuously. Balance confidence with curiosity. Trust in acquired knowledge while remaining open to new perspectives prevents stagnation and encourages ongoing growth. Observe the impact of learning. Track how knowledge translates into improved decisions, relationships, and outcomes to reinforce its value and guide future focus. Commit to continuous improvement. Every experience, interaction, or observation is an opportunity to expand understanding, refine skills, and strengthen insight. Chapter 10. Simplify your life to remove distractions and mental clutter effectively. Simplicity is one of the most overlooked yet powerful tools for clarity, focus, and effectiveness. A life cluttered with unnecessary possessions, obligations, and mental noise reduces energy, decision-making ability, and personal satisfaction. Simplifying life does not mean abandoning goals or avoiding responsibility. It means deliberately choosing what matters most and removing what distracts, drains, or diverts attention. The first step in simplification is awareness. Observe your daily routines, obligations, and possessions. Identify what consistently adds value versus what consumes time or mental energy without meaningful return. Begin by clearing physical spaces. A cluttered environment creates constant distractions, sapping focus and increasing stress. Organize, donate, or discard items that no longer serve purpose, keeping only what supports your goals and well-being. Simplification also applies to time management. Evaluate commitments, meetings, and obligations. Remove or delegate tasks that do not align with priorities or personal growth. Freeing time for meaningful work amplifies impact and satisfaction. Mental clutter arises from unresolved thoughts, unproductive worry, and excessive information consumption. Reduce noise by limiting exposure to distractions such as unnecessary social media, excessive news, or digital interruptions. Schedule focused periods for deep work and reflection, protecting attention for tasks that matter most. Decision fatigue is minimized through simplification. Reducing choices about trivial matters conserves mental energy for critical decisions. Create routines, automate repetitive tasks, and establish boundaries to streamline daily life. Prioritize essential relationships. Invest time and energy in individuals who inspire, support, and challenge growth. Limit interactions that consistently drain energy or foster negativity. Emotional simplification enhances peace. Release grudges, unresolved resentment, and unnecessary attachment to outcomes beyond control. Letting go reduces internal conflict and clears mental space for clarity and focus. Financial simplification reduces stress and increases freedom. Eliminate unnecessary spending, manage resources intentionally, and focus on supporting long-term goals rather than impulse or social comparison. Align commitments with values. When obligations, activities, or relationships conflict with personal principles, reevaluate their place in life. Simplifying in alignment with values enhances satisfaction and prevents distraction. Streamline communication. Focus on clarity, brevity, and intentionality in conversations, emails, and messages. Avoid overcomplicating exchanges with excessive explanation or multitasking interactions. Limit multitasking. Concentrating on one task at a time increases efficiency, quality, and satisfaction. Mental and physical focus grows when attention is not divided across competing demands. Eliminate repetitive or low-value activities. Assess routines and habits to determine which tasks can be automated, delegated, or removed entirely, freeing capacity for meaningful action. Practice minimalism in thought. Avoid overanalyzing minor decisions or events. Focus mental energy on high-impact areas and actions that directly contribute to goals. Regular reflection supports simplification. Daily or weekly review of obligations, priorities, and habits ensures that actions remain aligned with values and that unnecessary clutter is continually addressed. Develop clear goals. When objectives are specific, measurable, and meaningful, distractions lose influence because attention is naturally directed toward what matters most. Limit exposure to unnecessary opinions or information. Filtering external input prevents mental overload, reduces confusion, and strengthens personal judgment. Adopt routines that support simplicity. Morning and evening rituals, scheduled work periods, and consistent practices provide structure, reduce decision-making stress, and create mental space for creativity and reflection. Consolidate resources. Organize tools, materials, and information for easy access and efficiency. Disorganization consumes time and energy unnecessarily. Set boundaries proactively. Clearly define what is acceptable in terms of time, energy, and attention. Respect personal limits and reinforce them consistently to prevent overwhelm. Simplify digital life. Unsubscribe from irrelevant notifications, declutter emails, organize files, and establish focused use of technology to minimize distraction. Evaluate commitments periodically. Life circumstances evolve, and ongoing assessment ensures that obligations continue to serve goals, values, and well-being. Focus on high-leverage actions. Identify tasks or decisions that produce the most significant results and allocate energy accordingly. Minimize time spent on low-impact activities. Reduce overconsumption. Excess information, entertainment, and material possessions often create stress without contributing meaningful value. Consume intentionally to maintain mental clarity and purpose. Clarify priorities daily. Each morning, decide the 1 or 2 actions that matter most and align the day's energy toward completing them. Practice saying no. Declining unnecessary requests, invitations, or obligations protects focus, energy, and time for what truly matters. Simplify social interactions. Avoid overcommitting to obligations, events, or social engagements that do not nurture growth, learning, or meaningful connection. Streamline problem solving. Break challenges into essential components, focus on solutions, and avoid overcomplicating analysis. This reduces stress and accelerates effective action. Avoid unnecessary comparison. Measuring progress, possessions, or achievements against others creates mental clutter and distraction. Focus on personal values and goals instead. Minimize mental loops. Thoughts that repeatedly revisit the past or obsess over future uncertainty occupy space that could be directed toward productive action. Observe consumption habits. Evaluate what you watch, read, and listen to. Choose material that informs, educates, or inspires rather than overwhelms or distracts. Simplifying decisions enhances confidence. By reducing trivial choices, the mind becomes more decisive, reducing hesitation and increasing effectiveness in important matters. Adopt clear systems for recurring tasks. Organizing routine activities reduces decision fatigue and ensures consistent execution. Reduce sensory overload. Excess noise, movement, or stimulation diminishes focus and increases mental exhaustion. Create environments conducive to clarity and calm. Prioritize rest and recovery. Mental and physical energy is finite, and adequate rest allows focus, creativity, and efficiency. Avoid overcommitment that prevents proper recuperation. Limit multitasking between digital devices, work, and personal interactions. Focusing on one task strengthens quality, depth, and satisfaction. Evaluate relationships for energy alignment. Interactions should enhance growth, provide support, or foster learning. Release connections that consistently drain energy or create conflict without resolution. Practice gratitude to simplify perception. Recognizing the value in what is essential reduces desire for excess and strengthens appreciation for what is meaningful. Delegate effectively. Assign responsibilities to capable individuals to free personal capacity for higher priority actions. Evaluate habits for effectiveness. Remove routines that do not serve purpose, contribute to growth, or align with values. Create clear visual cues for priorities. Organize spaces and materials to reflect focus areas and prevent distraction. Consolidate commitments to reduce fragmentation. Group similar tasks, schedule strategic blocks of time, and maintain continuity of attention. Simplification reduces stress and enhances creativity. Mental and physical space allows focus on innovation, problem solving, and intentional action. Reduce overanalysis. Accept sufficient clarity to act decisively, avoiding paralysis from excessive contemplation. Observe energy expenditure. Focus effort on high-impact tasks while minimizing unnecessary exertion on trivial matters. Make intentional choices. Each action, interaction, and commitment should be evaluated for value and necessity. Simplifying life is a continual process. Circumstances change, priorities shift, and mental clutter accumulates over time. Regular assessment ensures focus, clarity, and alignment with goals. A simplified life strengthens presence. With fewer distractions and obligations, the mind can fully engage in the moment, increasing satisfaction, performance, and connection with others. Simplicity amplifies impact. Focused attention, clear priorities, and reduced clutter allow energy to be directed toward meaningful action, producing greater results with less wasted effort. Chapter 11 Scene: Listen deeply to others to strengthen relationships and mutual understanding. Listening is one of the most powerful tools for building meaningful relationships and understanding the world more clearly. True listening is more than hearing words. It is a conscious practice of fully engaging with another person's thoughts, emotions, and intentions. Many people hear but do not listen. Distractions, assumptions, and internal commentary often prevent genuine connection. Developing the ability to listen deeply requires focus, presence, and empathy. The first step is giving undivided attention. When someone speaks, direct mental and physical focus entirely toward them. Set aside devices, background tasks, and internal preoccupations. The body mirrors attention, so maintaining eye contact, nodding, and aligning posture communicates engagement and openness. Suspend judgment while listening. Avoid forming immediate opinions or preparing responses. The goal is to understand fully before responding, not to prove a point or win an argument. Observe nonverbal cues. Tone, facial expressions, gestures, and pacing provide insights beyond words. Attuning to these signals deepens understanding of emotions, intentions, and unspoken concerns. Ask clarifying questions. When something is unclear, inquire respectfully to gain precision. Questions should encourage elaboration and insight, not challenge or criticize. Reflect and paraphrase what you hear. Summarizing key points aloud demonstrates comprehension and allows the speaker to correct misunderstandings. This reinforces clarity and mutual respect. Avoid interrupting. Even brief interjections can disrupt thought flow, reduce expression, and signal impatience. Allow the speaker to complete ideas fully before responding. Recognize the value of silence. Pausing creates space for reflection, deeper expression, and more thoughtful communication. Silence often encourages honesty and reveals underlying thoughts. Manage internal distractions. Thoughts, assumptions, and emotional reactions often compete for attention. Consciously return focus to the speaker, maintaining presence despite mental noise. Empathize actively. Attempt to feel what the speaker experiences without losing objectivity. Empathy strengthens connection and promotes mutual understanding. Avoid the urge to offer immediate solutions. Listening does not always require advice. Sometimes understanding, validation, and presence are more valuable than corrective input. Notice patterns in communication. Recognizing repeated concerns, themes, or emotional triggers provides insight into behavior, motivation, and relational dynamics. Maintain openness to perspectives. Even when ideas conflict with personal beliefs, explore them fully. Openness expands understanding, strengthens adaptability, and deepens respect. Balance verbal and nonverbal responses. Small acknowledgements such as nodding, facial expressions, and subtle gestures signal attention and encourage further expression. Practice patience. Deep listening often takes time as people organize thoughts, navigate emotions, or approach sensitive topics. Avoid rushing the process. Separate ego from engagement. Listening deeply requires humility and the willingness to set aside personal validation, status, or competitiveness. Prioritize comprehension over persuasion. Understanding is more impactful than convincing others to adopt your perspective. Be aware of assumptions. Preconceived notions about motives, experiences, or intentions can distort comprehension. Check assumptions regularly to ensure accuracy. Validate emotions. Recognizing feelings without judgment communicates respect and fosters trust. Emotional acknowledgement often opens pathways for honesty and vulnerability. Cultivate curiosity about people. Genuine interest in experiences, perspectives, and insights fuels attention and strengthens connection. Minimize multitasking during conversations. Dividing focus diminishes depth of understanding and signals inattention. Encourage storytelling. Allow people to express experiences fully, including context, detail, and emotion, which provides richer understanding and connection. Be conscious of body language. Physical alignment, gestures, and facial expressions both communicate attention and affect the speaker's comfort and willingness to share. Avoid reactive responses. Immediate rebuttal, defensiveness, or emotional reactions disrupt understanding and signal lack of presence. Listen to learn, not to respond. Internalize lessons from conversations. Each interaction is an opportunity to understand new perspectives, refine empathy, and expand awareness. Track communication patterns over time. Observing how individuals express thoughts and emotions reveals tendencies, values, and priorities that guide meaningful interaction. Maintain confidentiality and trust. Respecting the privacy of shared information builds credibility and encourages openness. Recognize when listening requires adaptability. Different individuals communicate in unique ways. Adjusting approach enhances connection without compromising authenticity. Reflect on personal responses. Awareness of emotions, biases, or triggers that arise while listening improves self-management and strengthens engagement. Reinforce key points subtly. Mirroring language or themes gently demonstrates attentiveness and strengthens relational bonds. Engage in active recall. Remembering previous conversations and referencing relevant details communicates care and attentiveness. Recognize cultural and contextual differences. Communication norms, language nuances, and emotional expression vary. Awareness fosters respect and accurate comprehension. Practice presence consistently. Deep listening is a habit that strengthens with daily practice across all interactions, not just high-stakes conversations. Avoid overanalyzing immediately. Allow the speaker to fully communicate before drawing conclusions or planning responses. Observe energy shifts, changes in tone, tempo, or emotion often signal important insights requiring attentive observation. Use reflective pauses. Consider meaning, emotion, and context before responding to strengthen accuracy and impact of engagement. Encourage depth through questions that prompt exploration rather than simple answers. Deep inquiry fosters thoughtfulness and richer understanding. Manage expectations. Understand that not every conversation will produce insight or resolution, yet all contribute to relational and personal growth. Listen to underlying concerns. Often, the core issue lies beneath surface-level statements. Perceiving subtleties enhances comprehension. Maintain a calm and steady presence. Emotional stability facilitates trust and encourages openness from the speaker. Avoid projecting personal experiences unnecessarily. While shared experiences can foster empathy, overemphasis on self can distract from understanding the speaker. Prioritize active attention over passive hearing. Mindless listening misses context, nuance, and meaning, whereas active focus enhances connection and comprehension. Recognize and respond to emotional cues. Acknowledging frustration, joy, concern, or hesitation strengthens relational alignment. Adapt listening style to the individual. Some require more space, others more guidance or reflection. Sensitivity enhances understanding and connection. Practice summarizing internally. Mental condensation of key ideas reinforces memory and comprehension before external response. Avoid assumptions based on partial information. Seek full context to ensure accurate understanding and prevent miscommunication. Balance attentiveness with authenticity. Engage fully while remaining true to personal values and style. Encourage honesty gently. Creating a safe environment allows individuals to express thoughts freely without fear of judgment. Incorporate feedback loops. Verify understanding through questions, paraphrasing, or summarization to confirm accurate comprehension. Integrate listening with action. Where appropriate, Let understanding guide behavior, decisions, or support that demonstrates attentiveness in tangible ways. Reflect on lessons learned from each interaction. Every conversation offers insight into human behavior, emotional intelligence, and relational dynamics. Strengthening listening enhances problem solving. Understanding perspectives fully allows collaboration, negotiation, and conflict resolution to become more effective. Deep listening fosters respect. Consistent attentiveness signals value and consideration, strengthening relationships over time. Develop the habit of listening before speaking. Deliberate restraint ensures responses are informed, thoughtful, and aligned with true comprehension. Recognize listening as a practice rather than a skill completed once. Continuous refinement ensures ongoing growth and relational mastery. Chapter 12. Reflect daily to assess progress and adjust actions intelligently. Daily reflection is one of the most powerful practices for self-awareness, growth, and intelligent action. Progress is not accidental. It is cultivated through consistent evaluation of choices, behaviors, and outcomes. Reflecting each day allows the mind to pause, observe patterns, and adjust direction before mistakes compound or opportunities are lost. Begin by dedicating time intentionally for reflection. Even 10 to 15 minutes at the end of the day can create clarity, insight, and control over your life. Find a quiet space without distractions where attention can focus entirely on reviewing the day. Consider the actions you took, the decisions made, and the results achieved. Ask honest questions about effectiveness, alignment with goals, and whether effort produced meaningful outcomes. Record thoughts in a journal. Writing down observations solidifies understanding, highlights trends, and provides a tangible record to compare progress over time. Reflect on successes as well as challenges. Understanding what worked well reinforces productive habits and identifies strengths that can be leveraged in future endeavors. Examine setbacks without judgment. Analyze why obstacles occurred, which factors contributed, and what can be done differently next time. Treat challenges as lessons rather than failures. Recognize patterns in behavior. Repeated actions, emotional reactions, and decision-making habits reveal tendencies that shape outcomes. Awareness allows intentional adjustments to strengthen positive patterns and diminish negative ones. Assess the alignment of daily activities with larger goals. Ensure that time, energy, and effort are invested in what truly matters rather than distractions or obligations without purpose. Reflect on emotional responses. Observe moments of frustration, stress, or joy, and consider how emotions influence decisions and actions. Understanding emotional triggers improves control and consistency. Consider relationships and interactions. Evaluate how communication, support, and collaboration impacted outcomes and growth. Identify opportunities to strengthen connections or set boundaries where necessary. Evaluate use of time and resources. Determine if attention was focused effectively or wasted on trivial matters. Time awareness ensures energy is directed toward meaningful and high-impact actions. Reflect on learning experiences. Identify new knowledge gained, skills practiced, and insights acquired. Recognize how learning informs future decisions and behaviors. Ask strategic questions. What was achieved today? What could have been done better? Which habits contributed positively? Which consumed energy without return? Honest inquiry drives improvement. Consider intentions versus outcomes. Reflecting on whether actions aligned with planned objectives identifies gaps and guides future adjustment. Examine obstacles faced. Identify external and internal barriers that hindered progress and consider solutions to navigate them more effectively. Reflect on priorities. Assess whether attention and effort were focused on the most impactful areas or diffused across less relevant activities. Evaluate decision-making processes. Did choices reflect clarity, discipline, and foresight? Recognizing flaws allows refinement of judgment and strategic thinking. Review commitments and obligations. Determine whether tasks served personal or professional goals, or whether they were distractions that drained energy. Reflect on mindset. Notice mental attitudes that supported growth, such as resilience, focus, or curiosity, and identify thoughts that limited performance or caused unnecessary stress. Consider energy management. Evaluate whether physical, emotional, and mental energy was utilized efficiently and whether rest, nutrition, and recovery were sufficient to sustain performance. Reflect on accountability. Acknowledge responsibility for actions and outcomes, avoiding blame on circumstances or others, reinforcing agency and control over life. Examine patterns of procrastination or avoidance. Identify triggers and circumstances where action was delayed and develop strategies to counteract them in the future. Reflect on alignment with values. Determine whether behaviors and decisions reflected personal principles and purpose, ensuring integrity and authenticity in actions. Evaluate risk-taking. Consider whether opportunities were seized or avoided due to fear or indecision, and how calculated risk can be approached more effectively. Reflect on communication effectiveness. Observe clarity, empathy, and impact in interactions and identify ways to improve influence and understanding with others. Recognize incremental progress. Even small steps contribute to long-term growth. Reflection reinforces awareness of cumulative achievements and motivates continued effort. Assess adaptability. Evaluate how flexible responses were to changing circumstances and identify ways to improve resilience and problem-solving capacity. Consider habits. Identify which routines reinforced productivity, focus, and health, and which undermined progress or consumed unnecessary energy. Reflect on external influences. Determine whether external factors were managed effectively or allowed to dictate behavior, and adjust boundaries accordingly. Reflect on emotional regulation. Observe moments of heightened emotion and their impact on decisions, interactions, or performance, and strategize ways to maintain composure. Examine personal learning. Identify insights gained from successes, failures, and experiences that can inform future behavior and strategy. Reflect on goals. Evaluate relevance, clarity, and achievability of short-term and long-term objectives, adjusting plans to maintain alignment and momentum. Reflect on gratitude. Recognize resources, support, and opportunities received during the day to reinforce perspective and motivation. Consider efficiency of effort. Identify areas where energy or time could have been used more effectively and implement improvements for future tasks. Reflect on focus. Determine whether attention was sustained on high-priority actions or fragmented across distractions, and develop strategies for greater concentration. Observe emotional satisfaction. Reflect on moments of fulfillment or frustration to identify what contributes most to meaningful engagement and personal well-being. Evaluate problem-solving approaches. Determine whether challenges were met with creativity, decisiveness, and resilience, and refine methods for future situations. Reflect on influence. Assess the impact of actions on others and the environment, ensuring efforts produce positive and intentional outcomes. Consider long-term consequences. Analyze whether short-term choices aligned with broader objectives and whether adjustments are needed to maintain strategic trajectory. Reflect on decision-making under pressure. Identify strengths and weaknesses in judgment during challenging situations and develop strategies for more effective responses. Observe mental clarity. Evaluate whether mental clutter hindered decision-making or focus, and implement simplification strategies where needed. Reflect on self-discipline. Consider adherence to commitments, routines, and priorities, and strengthen mechanisms to maintain consistency. Identify opportunities for improvement. Daily reflection surfaces areas where small adjustments can create significant impact over time. Integrate insights into future planning. Use lessons learned to refine schedules, goals, and strategies to increase efficiency and effectiveness. Set actionable intentions for the next day. Converting reflection into concrete steps ensures growth is applied rather than merely observed. Reinforce accountability by documenting insights and planned adjustments. Reviewing notes regularly supports continuous improvement and prevents repetition of mistakes. Use reflection to reinforce motivation. Recognizing progress, strengths, and lessons learned strengthens confidence and persistence. Reflect with honesty and compassion. Evaluate behavior and outcomes objectively, but avoid harsh self-criticism. Balanced reflection encourages growth while maintaining self-respect. Make reflection habitual. Daily practice ensures learning is continuous, momentum is maintained, and personal development becomes intentional rather than reactive. Recognize the compounding effect. Incremental daily adjustments accumulate into significant long-term long-term improvement and mastery over habits, focus, and results. Reflection is not passive observation but active engagement with experience to guide wiser, more deliberate, and effective action every day. Chapter 13a. Act decisively to turn ideas into results without unnecessary delay. Decisive action is the bridge between ideas and tangible results. Having knowledge, plans, or goals is meaningless without the courage and commitment to act. Procrastination, hesitation, and overthinking dilute energy and allow opportunities to slip away. Acting decisively requires clarity, focus, and an understanding of what matters most. Begin by identifying the idea or task that carries the greatest potential impact. Prioritize actions that move you forward in meaningful ways. Not every task deserves equal attention. Discernment ensures that effort produces results. Break larger objectives into smaller, actionable steps. A big idea becomes manageable and achievable when divided into concrete, sequential tasks. Each step completed builds momentum and confidence. Eliminate indecision by limiting unnecessary options. Overanalyzing minor details delays execution. Focus on essential elements that will move the process forward effectively. Set clear deadlines. Time boundaries create urgency and prevent endless deliberation. Deadlines transform intentions into commitments with measurable expectations. Prepare adequately, but avoid over-preparation. Sufficient planning reduces risk, but excessive preparation can become a barrier to action. Balance readiness with courage to begin. Accept that mistakes are inevitable. Waiting for perfection often results in inaction. Progress is accelerated when learning occurs through doing rather than endless planning. Evaluate risk intelligently. Understand the potential consequences, but do not allow fear to paralyze action. Calculated risk-taking is a hallmark of decisive individuals. Trust judgment once informed by facts, experience, and analysis. Doubt is natural, but persistent hesitation undermines opportunities. Commit fully once a decision is made. Partial engagement leads to inconsistent effort and mediocre outcomes. Full commitment maximizes impact and accelerates results. Use time blocks to act immediately. Scheduling focused periods of work reduces distraction and reinforces consistent execution. Develop self-discipline to resist delay. Habitual action strengthens the ability to initiate, follow through, and maintain progress despite challenges. Observe internal resistance. Recognize excuses, fear, or uncertainty as signals to act rather than barriers to avoid. Build confidence through repeated execution. Each completed action reinforces belief in the ability to produce results, reducing future hesitation. Maintain flexibility during execution. Acting decisively does not mean rigidity. Adapt plans when necessary while keeping focus on the primary objective. Avoid over-reliance on consensus. Waiting for approval or validation can slow progress. Responsibility and initiative belong to the one taking action. Measure progress frequently. Evaluating outcomes during execution allows adjustments that improve efficiency, quality, and effectiveness. Cultivate a mindset of urgency. Recognize that time is finite, opportunities are limited, and action taken today produces results tomorrow. Reduce distraction. Minimize external interruptions and internal distractions to sustain focus on the task at hand. Embrace discomfort. Immediate action often requires facing uncertainty, challenge, or unfamiliar situations. Comfort delays growth. Decisive action accelerates it. Anticipate obstacles, but do not allow them to prevent initiation. Preparing for challenges should support action, not delay it. Visualize outcomes. Clarity on the desired result strengthens motivation, directs effort, and reduces hesitation. Use accountability to reinforce action. Sharing intentions with others or tracking commitments increases follow-through and diminishes procrastination. Celebrate small victories. Recognizing incremental progress reinforces momentum and encourages continued decisive behavior. Avoid unnecessary perfectionism. Execution outweighs minor imperfections, which can be refined in subsequent iterations. Leverage momentum. Each completed step fuels confidence, clarity, and energy for the next action. Do not wait for ideal circumstances. Perfect conditions rarely exist. Effective action is taken despite imperfection or uncertainty. Maintain focus on impact rather than effort alone. Results are measured by outcomes, not time spent or intention. Practice reflection after action. Reviewing results informs better decision-making, improves future execution, and strengthens judgment. Separate planning from doing. Allocate time for strategy, then shift fully into execution without returning prematurely to planning. Build resilience. Decisive action often encounters setbacks, resistance, or criticism. Persistence and adaptability are essential for achieving meaningful results. Recognize the cost of inaction. Delay wastes time, energy, and opportunity, while decisive effort accelerates progress and learning. Develop clarity of purpose. Understanding why an action matters strengthens commitment, reduces hesitation, and guides priority. Align decisions with long-term objectives. Immediate actions should contribute meaningfully to larger goals, avoiding distractions or low-impact activity. Cultivate courage through repetition. The more frequently action is taken decisively, the more natural and confident the response becomes. Eliminate excuses systematically. Identify common rationalizations for delay and create strategies to act regardless of discomfort or fear. Integrate decision-making and action into daily habits. Consistency ensures momentum and reduces the mental friction of initiating tasks. Embrace accountability for outcomes. Owning results, whether success or failure, reinforces responsibility and strengthens the habit of decisive execution. Focus on solutions rather than obstacles. Attention to actionable steps rather than problems ensures energy produces results rather than stagnation. Use visualization and mental rehearsal to prepare for execution. Imagining action in detail reduces hesitation and increases clarity of next steps. Simplify choices where possible. Complexity in decision-making can paralyze action. Streamlining options increases speed and effectiveness. Develop the ability to start before readiness feels complete. Momentum often builds once action begins, while waiting diminishes initiative. Observe timing. Acting decisively includes knowing when to initiate, pause, or pivot without unnecessary delay. Prioritize high-leverage tasks. Focus on actions that yield the greatest impact relative to effort and time invested. Minimize over-reliance on validation. Confidence in judgment encourages independent action and accelerates results. Reflect on patterns of indecision. Identifying recurring hesitation allows conscious strategies to overcome it in future situations. Maintain energy and focus. Physical and mental readiness supports rapid, sustained, and high-quality execution. Cultivate decisiveness as a skill. Treat every decision as practice in clarity, commitment, and action. Recognize that delay often amplifies risk, while prompt execution mitigates uncertainty and produces results. Encourage proactive behavior. Seek opportunities actively rather than waiting passively for circumstances to dictate action. Develop follow-through rigorously. Initiating action is essential, but consistent completion ensures ideas materialize into tangible outcomes. Observe the relationship between thought and action. Ideas gain value only when transformed into effort and results, reinforcing the principle that action converts intention into reality. Maintain awareness of opportunity costs. Every moment spent hesitating is energy and time lost that could have been directed toward achieving meaningful objectives. Celebrate decisiveness in others. Observing effective action reinforces learning, provides models to emulate, and strengthens motivation to act promptly. Reflect on progress after decisive action. Each completed initiative offers lessons to refine future decisions, improve execution, and increase efficiency. Use momentum from action to build additional results. Success compounds when decisive execution is habitual, intentional, and persistent. Decisive action is not impulsive, it is deliberate, informed, and courageous. It bridges the gap between thought and reality, transforms potential into accomplishment, and cultivates the confidence, resilience, and clarity needed to thrive consistently. Chapter 4. Prioritize health to enhance energy, focus, and overall performance naturally. Health is the foundation of energy, focus, and performance, yet it is often treated as secondary until crises occur. True productivity, clarity, and resilience depend on the body and mind functioning at their best. Prioritizing health is not merely about avoiding illness, it is about actively cultivating energy, strength, and mental clarity every day. Begin by recognizing that the body and mind are inseparable in determining performance. Physical wellness directly affects mental sharpness, emotional regulation, and decision-making ability. Nutrition plays a central role in fueling both body and mind. Choosing foods that provide sustained energy, balance blood sugar, and nourish cellular function enhances concentration, stamina, and recovery. Avoid excessive reliance on processed foods, refined sugars, or stimulants that create temporary spikes followed by energy crashes. Hydration is equally critical. Water is essential for cognitive function, digestion, circulation, and metabolic efficiency. Regular intake ensures alertness, focus, and emotional stability. Movement is not optional, it is a necessity. Consistent physical activity strengthens cardiovascular health, supports metabolism, increases energy levels, and improves mood through the release of natural endorphins. Prioritize exercises that balance strength, flexibility, and endurance. Even moderate daily activity compounds into significant long-term benefits. Sleep is non-negotiable for optimal health and performance. Quality rest allows cellular repair, consolidates memory, regulates hormones, and restores energy. Establish routines to maximize sleep consistency and duration, and minimize factors that disrupt restorative cycles. Stress management is essential for sustaining energy and mental clarity. Chronic stress diminishes focus, weakens immunity, and undermines overall performance. Practices such as deep breathing, meditation, mindfulness, or gentle movement reduce tension and enhance mental resilience. Mental stimulation complements physical health. Engaging the mind through reading, learning, and problem-solving keeps cognitive functions sharp, supports adaptability, and strengthens focus. Avoid habits that drain attention or create mental fatigue unnecessarily. Preventative care maintains long-term performance. Regular checkups, screenings, and monitoring of key health indicators allow early detection and management of issues before they escalate, supporting consistent energy and capability. Establishing routines fosters stability in physical and mental performance. Morning rituals that incorporate movement, hydration, nutrition, and intention setting prepare the body and mind for peak function throughout the day. Limit exposure to toxins and harmful substances. Environmental factors, chemicals, and excessive consumption of alcohol or nicotine impair energy, focus, and overall health. Intentional avoidance protects performance and longevity. Mind-body connection is central to sustainable energy. Awareness of posture, breathing patterns, and physical tension allows proactive adjustments to prevent strain, fatigue, and diminished cognitive function. Cultivate consistency over intensity. Regular, moderate effort in nutrition, exercise, and rest produces far greater results than sporadic extremes. Recovery is as important as action. Rest periods between work, exercise, or mental exertion allow the body to rebuild, the mind to consolidate learning, and energy reserves to replenish. Avoid chronic multitasking that fractures attention and depletes energy unnecessarily. Focused work periods interspersed with restorative breaks maximize output without exhausting mental resources. Strengthen immune function through balanced nutrition, movement, and stress management. A robust immune system ensures fewer interruptions from illness and maintains consistent performance levels. Recognize early signs of fatigue or imbalance. Listening to the body and mind enables timely adjustments in activity, rest, or nutrition to sustain energy and prevent burnout. Incorporate movement throughout the day. Short walks, stretching, or posture adjustments counteract the effects of prolonged sitting, improve circulation, and maintain focus. Avoid excessive caffeine or stimulants that mask fatigue but ultimately disrupt energy balance and sleep cycles. Mindful eating enhances energy utilization. Paying attention to portion sizes, nutrient balance, and meal timing supports sustained focus and prevents digestive strain or energy crashes. Set clear health goals aligned with personal performance objectives. Whether increasing stamina, improving focus, or enhancing mood, measurable goals provide direction and motivation for daily habits. Integrate variety into physical activity. A combination of strength, aerobic, and flexibility exercises ensures balanced fitness, reduces injury risk, and maintains engagement over time. Manage emotional health as a pillar of overall wellness. Positive relationships, emotional expression, and stress coping strategies enhance resilience and prevent mental fatigue from undermining physical performance. Track progress in health-related habits. Journaling nutrition, activity, sleep, and mood allows recognition of patterns, identification of areas for improvement, and reinforcement of effective routines. Balance work, rest, and recreation. Excessive focus on productivity without recovery diminishes energy, creativity, and long-term performance. Allocate time for enjoyable activities that rejuvenate body and mind. Build resilience to setbacks. Illness, injury, or stress can disrupt routines. Adaptive strategies ensure rapid recovery and maintain consistency in health practices. Optimize workspace ergonomics. Physical alignment, lighting, and posture-friendly setups reduce strain, prevent fatigue, and sustain focus during extended work periods. Limit mental clutter. Organizing tasks, prioritizing objectives, and maintaining clear boundaries prevent unnecessary stress, conserve cognitive energy, and support sustainable performance. Embrace nutrient-dense foods that provide long-lasting energy rather than empty calories that produce short-term spikes followed by fatigue. Recognize the cumulative effect of small choices. Daily attention to nutrition, movement, sleep, and mental well-being compounds into substantial long-term benefits in energy, focus, and resilience. Adapt habits to seasonal, environmental, or personal changes. Flexibility ensures continued performance and prevents disruptions from unforeseen circumstances. Maintain regular check-ins with personal metrics. Monitoring heart rate, weight, sleep quality, or stress levels allows timely interventions and prevents performance decline. Prioritize mental clarity alongside physical health. Practices that reduce distraction, enhance focus, and sharpen decision-making complement physical wellness for optimal results. Limit exposure to unnecessary digital noise. Overstimulation reduces attention span, increases stress, and depletes energy, undermining natural performance capacity. Foster social connections that support health. Positive relationships enhance emotional resilience, reduce stress, and provide motivation for maintaining routines. Integrate movement with purpose. Exercise that aligns with personal goals or daily activities increases engagement and ensures practical benefits for performance. Use restorative practices such as stretching, meditation, or breathing exercises to counterbalance intense mental or physical exertion. Cultivate self-awareness in habits. Recognizing patterns of fatigue, energy spikes, or mental drain allows proactive adjustments in routines to sustain performance. Avoid reliance on quick fixes for energy such as excessive caffeine or stimulants. Sustainable energy comes from consistent, holistic health practices. Celebrate progress and consistency in maintaining health. Recognition reinforces habits, strengthens motivation, and sustains focus on long-term performance. Accept responsibility for personal well-being. Health is largely determined by daily choices. Ownership empowers consistent, intentional action. Maintain balance across physical, mental, and emotional domains. Neglecting any area reduces overall energy, focus, and performance capacity. Treat health as an investment, not a task. Daily habits compound into long-term benefits that increase quality of life, resilience, and effectiveness in every endeavor. Prioritizing health ensures that the mind is sharp, energy is abundant, and the body is capable of sustained effort, forming the foundation for high performance, personal growth, and consistent achievement. Chapter 15. Release negativity to cultivate peace and mental clarity immediately. Negativity is one of the most destructive forces in life because it clouds judgment, drains energy, and undermines progress. Holding on to resentment, fear, frustration, or self-criticism creates an internal environment that limits clarity, focus, and effective action. Releasing negativity is not about ignoring reality or pretending difficulties do not exist. It is about choosing consciously not to let harmful emotions dictate your behavior or mindset. The first step is recognizing when negativity arises. Awareness of emotional states allows conscious intervention before it takes root and spreads. Observe thoughts and feelings without immediate reaction. Noticing that anger, worry, or resentment is present gives you the power to respond rather than be controlled. Label emotions accurately. Identifying what you feel, whether frustration, disappointment, or fear, reduces confusion and prevents vague emotional overload. Understand the source. Examine where negativity originates. Is it a reaction to someone else, a self-imposed expectation, or a past experience? Clarity of source informs effective release. Accept responsibility for emotional ownership. While external events may trigger feelings, how you respond is entirely within your control. Shifting from blame to ownership empowers decision-making and restores peace. Challenge distorted thinking. Negativity often grows from exaggeration, assumptions, or worst-case scenarios. Question the validity of these thoughts and replace them with balanced, rational perspectives. Practice reframing. Look for alternative interpretations of situations that reduce emotional charge and encourage constructive responses. Focus on solutions rather than problems. Dwelling on what is wrong magnifies negativity, while seeking actionable steps shifts attention to productive outcomes. Engage in physical release. Movement, deep breathing, or stretching helps discharge tension accumulated from negative emotions, restoring calm and clarity. Practice forgiveness. Holding grudges against others or oneself perpetuates suffering and mental clutter. Forgiveness is a deliberate choice to free the mind and restore balance. Set boundaries. Protect yourself from sources of repeated negativity by limiting exposure to toxic people, environments, or content. Prioritize supportive relationships that reinforce positivity, understanding, and mutual respect. Create mental space through mindfulness. Observing thoughts without attachment allows negativity to pass naturally without lingering or growing. Use journaling to externalize emotions. Writing down frustrations, fears, or resentments transfers mental weight into a tangible form, making it easier to release. Engage in gratitude practice. Shifting attention to what is valuable, meaningful, or positive counteracts negative mental patterns and reinforces perspective. Cultivate self-compassion. Negative self-talk erodes confidence and clarity. Speak to yourself with encouragement and understanding, focusing on growth rather than criticism. Reduce rumination. Replaying negative events repeatedly strengthens their influence. Interrupt this cycle by redirecting focus to present tasks, problem-solving, or constructive activities. Practice detachment from uncontrollable outcomes. Accept that some circumstances cannot be changed, and wasting energy on them prolongs negativity without effecting solution. Develop a meditation practice. Focused attention on breath, sensations, or guided imagery reduces mental clutter, calms emotions, and cultivates clarity. Engage in creative expression. Art, music, writing, or other forms of creation channel energy constructively, transforming emotional tension into productive output. Surround yourself with positive stimuli. Environments, sounds, and visual cues that inspire calm, focus, and optimism support mental clarity. Seek perspective from trusted mentors or friends. External viewpoints can challenge distorted thinking and provide encouragement to move beyond negativity. Practice letting go of attachments to outcomes. Resistance to change or unmet expectations creates mental friction. Releasing attachment fosters peace and adaptability. Incorporate regular reflection. Review situations that provoked negative responses to identify patterns and develop strategies for future management. Use affirmations to reinforce positivity. Repeating constructive statements about capabilities, growth, and perspective strengthens resilience against recurring negative thought cycles. Limit exposure to news or media that promotes fear, anger, or anxiety unnecessarily. Awareness of consumption protects mental state and preserves energy for constructive focus. Develop a routine for resetting emotionally. Short periods of solitude, nature walks, or intentional breathing exercises restore equilibrium after stressful encounters. Embrace acceptance of imperfection. Unrealistic standards for yourself or others generate disappointment, stress, and negativity. Recognition of imperfection fosters tolerance, patience, and calm. Recognize triggers proactively. Identifying common sources of negative emotional responses allows preparation and conscious management when similar situations arise. Replace judgment with curiosity. Shifting from criticism to exploration encourages understanding, reduces tension, and opens problem-solving pathways. Prioritize solutions that restore balance. Action to correct issues or clarify misunderstandings releases emotional weight and prevents stagnation in negative patterns. Recognize the temporary nature of emotions. Understanding that feelings are transient reduces identification with negativity and allows choice in response. Practice daily mental hygiene. Intentional routines to process emotions, release frustration, and reinforce perspective, prevent accumulation of negativity. Strengthen resilience through repeated exposure to manageable challenges. Controlled encounters with stressors build confidence, adaptability, and the ability to maintain clarity under pressure. Avoid comparisons with others. Constant evaluation against external standards fosters dissatisfaction and undermines peace. Focus on personal growth and progress instead. Engage in acts of kindness. Contributing positively to others reduces self-focused negativity and reinforces constructive mindset. Focus attention on the present moment. Past regrets and future anxieties often fuel negativity. Grounding in the now restores control and mental clarity. Seek professional support if necessary. Guidance from counselors, coaches, or therapists provides structured strategies for processing and releasing persistent negativity. Embrace a mindset of impermanence. Recognizing that circumstances, emotions, and events are constantly changing reduces attachment and promotes mental balance. Align actions with personal values. Acting in accordance with principles reinforces self-respect, reduces internal conflict, and strengthens peace of mind. Practice mindful breathing throughout the day. Brief moments of intentional inhalation and exhalation reset mental state, calm emotional reactivity, and enhance focus. Recognize the impact of self-talk. Actively monitor and replace negative internal dialogue with supportive, realistic statements. Reinforce small successes. Noticing progress, improvement, and moments of control strengthens confidence and reduces the influence of negative patterns. Commit to releasing grudges or lingering disappointments intentionally. Mental release is a choice and a consistent practice that frees energy for constructive action. Surround yourself with reminders of positivity. Visual cues, inspiring quotes, or personal symbols reinforce mindset and support daily mental clarity. Monitor energy levels in relation to emotional state. Fatigue or depletion amplifies negativity. Replenishing rest and nourishment restores balance. Reframe obstacles as opportunities for learning. Perceiving challenges constructively reduces emotional burden and promotes proactive thinking. Establish a regular practice of reflection. Daily assessment of emotional state, triggers, and responses ensures negativity is identified and released before accumulation. Prioritize mental clarity in decision-making. Clear, focused thinking arises from a calm internal state rather than one clouded by unresolved negative emotions. Recognize that letting go is an active process. Releasing negativity requires intention, observation, and deliberate action, not passive hope. Cultivate the habit of emotional auditing. Checking in multiple times throughout the day allows early recognition and management of negativity, preventing escalation. Transform energy once held in negativity into purpose-driven action, focus, and personal growth. Releasing negativity consistently creates space for clarity, peace, and resilience, enabling intentional living, stronger relationships, and sustained achievement. Chapter 16. Seek challenges to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient consistently. Growth is not found in comfort. True strength, wisdom, and resilience are forged when the mind and body face challenges intentionally and consistently. Seeking challenges is not about pursuing unnecessary struggle for its own sake. It is about choosing experiences that stretch abilities, expand understanding, and build capacity to handle uncertainty and adversity. Begin by identifying areas of life where growth is desired. These might include skills, emotional maturity, relationships, or professional development. Challenges should align with meaningful goals rather than random trials, ensuring effort produces value. Step into discomfort deliberately. Challenges naturally create unease, uncertainty, or difficulty, and embracing these feelings signals readiness to grow beyond current limitations. Break challenges into manageable components. Understanding the specific skills, resources, and steps needed prevents overwhelm and allows focused action. Approach each task with intention. Deliberate focus on learning and improvement transforms difficulty into opportunity rather than frustration. Embrace failure as part of the process. Each setback provides insight into limitations, strategies, and behavior patterns that require adjustment. Wisdom grows from lessons extracted, not avoidance of mistakes. Reflect consistently on experiences. After facing a challenge, assess what worked, what did not, and what can be improved. This reflection turns trial into actionable knowledge. Strengthen resilience by enduring difficulty without abandoning effort. Persistence reinforces confidence, adaptability, and the capacity to maintain stability under pressure. Maintain flexibility in approach. Challenges often present unforeseen variables, requiring adjustment, creative problem solving, and patience. Cultivate a mindset that views obstacles as invitations to grow rather than threats. Avoid the temptation to choose only easy or convenient tasks. True development occurs when effort meets resistance. Stretching beyond comfort zones strengthens skill, patience, and mental fortitude. Seek feedback actively. External perspectives reveal blind spots, highlight areas for improvement, and guide smarter approaches to overcoming challenges. Prioritize challenges with strategic value. Not every difficulty yields growth. Select situations that build competence, character, and perspective. Commit fully to each endeavor. Half-hearted engagement limits learning and diminishes the development of resilience. Recognize patterns in repeated challenges. Consistent encounters with similar obstacles reveal behavioral tendencies, allowing intentional adjustment for better outcomes. Balance ambition with capacity. Challenges should push limits but remain realistic to prevent discouragement or burnout. Develop courage incrementally. Facing progressively more demanding situations builds confidence, reduces fear, and reinforces the ability to act decisively under pressure. Track progress to maintain perspective. Recording accomplishments, lessons learned, and obstacles overcome provides motivation and evidence of growth over time. Celebrate effort, not just results. Attempting difficult tasks strengthens character and skill regardless of immediate outcome, and recognition of effort reinforces continued pursuit. Prepare adequately without overplanning. Skill development and problem analysis enhance readiness, but excessive preparation can delay engagement and reduce the benefits of experiential learning. Practice reflection under pressure. Developing awareness of reactions, decision-making patterns, and emotional responses during challenges improves future performance and judgment. Maintain mental clarity by managing stress and energy. Physical preparation, nutrition, rest, and mindfulness support optimal performance when facing demanding situations. Embrace uncertainty as a teacher. Unpredictable outcomes encourage adaptability, critical thinking, and acceptance of circumstances beyond control. Avoid avoidance behavior. Retreating from challenges reinforces limitation and stunts growth, while intentional engagement strengthens resilience. Build problem-solving capacity. Each challenge presents opportunities to innovate, strategize, and apply knowledge creatively. Repeated exposure enhances competence and confidence. Cultivate patience. Some challenges require sustained effort over time, teaching endurance and the ability to manage delayed gratification. Recognize the value of discomfort. Emotional, physical, or intellectual unease signals active growth rather than stagnation. Manage expectations realistically. Not every challenge will yield immediate success, but persistence produces cumulative improvement and insight. Develop self-discipline to maintain consistent engagement. Regular confrontation with difficulties ensures growth becomes habitual rather than occasional. Learn from observation of others. Studying how peers or mentors face challenges provides strategies, motivation, and perspective on overcoming obstacles. Strengthen emotional resilience. Facing challenging experiences builds tolerance to frustration, stress, and uncertainty, enabling calm and effective responses in future situations. Apply lessons learned to new challenges. Each encounter provides tools, strategies, and awareness that compound over time, accelerating growth. Avoid comparison to others in the pursuit of challenges. Personal development is measured by progress relative to one's own capabilities, not external benchmarks. Build confidence in decision-making under pressure. Regular exposure to complex, demanding circumstances strengthens judgment, prioritization, and execution. Maintain focus on controllable elements. External variables may be unpredictable, but directing effort toward actionable areas maximizes effectiveness and results. Practice visualization and preparation. Mentally rehearsing responses, strategies, and desired outcomes reduces anxiety and improves performance when action is required. Reinforce adaptability. The ability to pivot strategies, rethink approaches, and manage unexpected outcomes is cultivated through repeated encounters with difficulty. Seek challenges across multiple domains. Physical, intellectual, emotional, and social challenges each develop complementary strengths and resilience. Observe personal limits and extend them gradually. Incremental expansion of capacity allows sustainable growth without overwhelming stress. Balance risk and reward. Effective challenges involve measurable risk with meaningful potential benefits, avoiding unnecessary danger or wasted effort. Foster curiosity and experimentation. Approaching challenges with openness and willingness to learn enhances insight and reduces fear of failure. Reflect on long-term impact. Select challenges that build skills, character, and resilience that compound over time rather than provide only temporary stimulation. Incorporate feedback loops. Continuous evaluation and adjustment ensure lessons from each challenge are integrated into behavior and strategy. Embrace accountability. Taking full responsibility for outcomes reinforces ownership, motivation, and determination to persist. Practice gratitude for challenges encountered. Viewing difficulty as a gift that accelerates growth transforms perspective and strengthens engagement. Strengthen communication and collaboration when challenges involve others. Negotiation, empathy, and coordination enhance both relationships and success in achieving objectives. Recognize the compounding effect of repeated challenges. Each experience builds competence, confidence, and mental toughness that prepares for increasingly complex situations. Maintain awareness of emotional responses during difficulty. Recognizing stress, fear, or frustration allows timely intervention to sustain clarity and rational decision-making. Build resilience by reflecting on past successes in overcoming obstacles. Recalling previous victories reinforces confidence and belief in ability to navigate future difficulties. Integrate challenge, seeking into daily life. Habitual exposure to manageable obstacles ensures ongoing growth, preparedness, and personal evolution. Use challenges to clarify priorities, values, and purpose. Difficult experiences highlight what truly matters and strengthen alignment with personal goals. Celebrate mastery of new skills, emotional control, and problem-solving strategies gained through consistent challenge. Recognize that the pursuit of challenge is a lifelong endeavor. Growth is continuous, and each stage of life presents new opportunities to stretch, learn, and strengthen capacity. Facing challenges with deliberate intent cultivates stronger, wiser, and more resilient individual, enabling life to be approached with confidence, focus, and the ability to navigate adversity with clarity and purpose. Chapter 17. Strengthen habits to build momentum and long-lasting personal improvement. Habits are the building blocks of consistent progress, and strengthening them is the most reliable way to create momentum that fuels long-term personal improvement. The patterns you practice daily compound over time, shaping character, skill, and outcomes in ways that deliberate effort cannot replicate in a single instance. To build strong habits, begin by clearly identifying the behaviors that produce meaningful results. Understand which actions, repeated consistently, will move you closer to your goals and create the life you desire. Focus on quality over quantity. Small, well-executed habits are more effective than sporadic, ambitious efforts that are unsustainable. Begin with 1 or 2 habits at a time, establishing them firmly before layering additional routines. Consistency is more valuable than intensity. Even modest actions performed every day create significant change when maintained over weeks, months, and years. Establish cues and triggers for habits. Associating a specific time, location, or preceding action with a desired behavior reinforces repetition and reduces reliance on willpower alone. Structure your environment to support positive behaviors. Remove distractions, simplify access to necessary tools, and create visual reminders that prompt action. Focus on building identity-based habits. Align behaviors with the type of person you want to become rather than solely with outcomes. Acting as the person you aspire to be reinforces self-image and strengthens motivation. Track progress diligently. Measuring adherence to habits, noting successes, and recognizing streaks reinforces commitment and provides tangible evidence of growth. Use gradual increments to avoid burnout. Habits become entrenched when effort is sustainable and incremental increases in difficulty or duration build resilience and mastery. Implement accountability mechanisms. Sharing intentions with others, setting public commitments, or using tracking tools enhances responsibility and reduces the likelihood of deviation. Prioritize foundational habits first. Activities such as sleep, nutrition, movement, focus practices, and reflection serve as anchors that amplify the effectiveness of secondary habits. Automate behaviors wherever possible. Systems, reminders, and routines reduce the cognitive load required to maintain consistency, preserving mental energy for complex decisions. Reward progress meaningfully. Positive reinforcement strengthens neural pathways associated with habit performance, making continuation more likely. Anticipate obstacles and plan responses. Awareness of common challenges, interruptions, or lapses allows preparation and reduces the impact of setbacks. Maintain patience and self-compassion. Habit formation is gradual, and lapses are natural. Recover quickly, resume action, and avoid self-criticism that undermines momentum. Use habit stacking to create integrated routines. Linking new habits to established behaviors increases likelihood of adherence by leveraging existing patterns. Optimize timing and energy. Perform high-priority habits when focus, motivation, and physical energy are highest to maximize effectiveness. Reflect regularly on the purpose of each habit. Understanding why a behavior matters sustains commitment and reinforces intrinsic motivation beyond external rewards. Simplify habits into clear, actionable steps. Avoid overcomplicating processes, as complexity reduces consistency and increases friction. Remove decision fatigue. Pre-decide when, where, and how habits will be performed, minimizing reliance on willpower and avoiding procrastination. Incorporate periodic review. Assess which habits are delivering value and adjust or replace those that no longer align with goals. Embrace the compounding effect of consistency. Each day a habit is performed adds incremental improvement, which grows exponentially over time. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledging even minor accomplishments reinforces identity, confidence, and persistence. Replace negative or unproductive habits proactively. Identify behaviors that undermine progress and create structured plans to eliminate or substitute them with beneficial routines. Strengthen self-discipline through repetition. Every completed habit reinforces neural pathways that increase resilience against distractions, impulses, or competing priorities. Use environmental cues to minimize friction, making desired behaviors convenient and undesired behaviors inconvenient supports adherence without relying solely on motivation. Focus on the process rather than immediate results. Commitment to consistent action produces results naturally when compounded over time. Integrate mindfulness into habit execution. Being present during practice enhances engagement, retention, and awareness of improvements. Establish rituals to signal habit initiation. Predictable routines reinforce behavior and reduce the mental energy required to start action. Adapt habits to changing circumstances without abandoning progress. Flexibility ensures sustainability despite external shifts or challenges. Leverage social support. Surrounding yourself with others who model, encourage, or participate in desired habits reinforces accountability and motivation. Document and reflect on performance. Journaling about habit execution, feelings, and outcomes strengthens awareness and reinforces commitment. Avoid multitasking with habits that require focus. Single-minded attention enhances skill acquisition, quality of execution, and internalization. Prioritize high-impact habits that influence multiple areas of life. Foundational routines amplify the effect of secondary behaviors and accelerate overall improvement. Recognize the ripple effect of strong habits. Positive actions in one area often spill over, improving productivity, relationships, and mental clarity in others. Maintain emotional regulation during challenges to habits. Stress, fatigue, or interruptions are inevitable. Responding calmly preserves consistency and reduces negative reinforcement. Incorporate variety when appropriate. Adjusting elements of a habit can maintain engagement and prevent boredom without undermining progress. Visualize the long-term benefits of sustained habits. Seeing the future impact strengthens motivation and reinforces commitment during difficult moments. Reinforce habits through repetition until they become automatic. Automatic behaviors reduce cognitive load, conserve energy, and make consistency effortless. Use setbacks as data rather than judgment. Analyze missed actions to identify improvements and strengthen strategies for continuation. Recognize that momentum is self-reinforcing. Once habits are established, maintaining them requires less effort, and success in one area supports others. Emphasize incremental improvement over perfection. Focus on steady growth as small daily actions accumulate into significant long-term results. Balance discipline with flexibility. Rigid adherence can create burnout, while adaptive application ensures longevity and sustainable momentum. Integrate habits into identity. When behaviors become part of who you are, effort decreases and consistency becomes natural. Align habits with personal goals and values. Consistency is reinforced when actions directly support meaningful aspirations. Strengthen routines by linking habits to existing obligations. Using natural life rhythms as anchors increases probability of execution. Remove unnecessary complexity in habit design. Clear, simple routines reduce friction, increase adherence, and accelerate mastery. Use reflection to identify habits that no longer serve purpose. Intentional evaluation ensures energy is directed toward high-value behaviors. Reinforce habits through repetition, reflection, and adjustment. Consistency, patience, and awareness create momentum, enabling sustainable growth and personal evolution. Strengthening habits is not a short-term task, it is a lifelong commitment to deliberate action, self-discipline, and the daily practice of behaviors that compound into enduring success, capability, and mastery. Chapter 18Z: Communicate authentically to create trust, respect, and meaningful connections. Authentic communication is the cornerstone of trust, respect, and meaningful connections. Without honesty, clarity, and genuine presence, relationships remain superficial and interactions lack depth. To communicate authentically, it begins with self-awareness. Understanding your thoughts, emotions, and intentions is essential because you cannot convey truth to others if you are unclear with yourself. Pause and reflect before speaking. Consider whether your words align with your values and purpose, and whether they support understanding rather than conflict. Speak with clarity. Avoid ambiguous language, assumptions, or vagueness that may confuse or mislead others. Be intentional with your tone, pace, and expression because these elements influence how your message is received. Listen actively. True communication is as much about hearing others as it is about speaking. Focus entirely on the person in front of you, absorb what they are saying, and resist the urge to formulate responses prematurely. Maintain presence during interactions. Avoid distractions such as phones, multitasking, or wandering thoughts. Full attention communicates respect and reinforces trust. Express yourself honestly without unnecessary embellishment. Share perspectives and feelings transparently while avoiding manipulation or exaggeration. Cultivate empathy. Understanding another person's viewpoint, emotions, and experiences allows communication to transcend mere information exchange and become connection. Ask clarifying questions. When something is unclear, seeking explanation demonstrates engagement, curiosity, and respect for the other person's perspective. Avoid assumptions. Jumping to conclusions can create misunderstanding, conflict, and erode credibility. Acknowledge emotions, both your own and those of others. Emotional recognition fosters safety, openness, and connection. Maintain integrity in all communications. Align words with actions and promises. Consistency between speech and behavior establishes reliability and deepens trust over time. Manage your reactions. Respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively to challenging statements or criticism. Authenticity does not require agreement, but requires composure and clarity. Use concise and meaningful language. Avoid overcomplication or filler that dilutes your message or reduces comprehension. Adapt communication style to context without compromising authenticity. Tone, language, and approach should respect the situation while maintaining honesty and clarity. Balance speaking and listening. Effective communication requires proportional attention to expressing ideas and understanding others. Avoid interrupting or dominating conversation. Recognize the power of silence. Pauses in dialogue allow reflection, processing, and thoughtful response. Silence can strengthen the weight of words and provide space for meaningful exchange. Admit mistakes openly. Owning errors demonstrates integrity, humility, and fosters mutual respect. Seek to understand before being understood. Prioritizing comprehension over immediate expression strengthens dialogue and builds trust. Avoid reactive communication based on defensiveness, anger, or impatience. Respond with composure, thoughtfulness, and intentionality. Reinforce key points without repetition. Clarity comes from structure and relevance rather than repeated emphasis, which can dilute effectiveness. Validate perspectives without necessarily agreeing. Recognition of another's experience builds rapport and encourages honest exchange. Use nonverbal communication consciously. Body language, eye contact, gestures, and posture convey authenticity and reinforce verbal messages. Eliminate hidden agendas. Speak openly and avoid manipulation, coercion, or concealment that undermines trust. Encourage dialogue rather than monologue. Ask questions, invite input, and create space for mutual exploration of ideas. Practice humility in communication. Sharing knowledge without arrogance and admitting gaps fosters respect and openness. Maintain boundaries while communicating. Honesty does not require overexposure or self-compromise. Clarity can coexist with personal limits. Frame feedback constructively. When offering critique, focus on growth, behavior, and solutions rather than judgment or blame. Be aware of cultural and individual differences. Communication styles vary, and adapting appropriately enhances understanding while remaining authentic. Use stories and examples to illustrate points. Contextualizing ideas through concrete examples improves clarity and relatability without sacrificing truth. Reflect on past interactions to improve future communication. Identify patterns, misunderstandings, and moments of success to refine approach continuously. Avoid gossip, exaggeration, or speculation. Conversations grounded in honesty and respect strengthen credibility and relationships. Recognize emotional triggers and manage them proactively. Awareness of what provokes strong reactions allows for measured, authentic responses. Balance assertiveness with receptivity. Express needs, opinions, and boundaries clearly while remaining open to dialogue and compromise. Use affirmations of understanding. Simple acknowledgements like summarizing or paraphrasing demonstrate attentiveness and comprehension. Nurture patience in communication. Complex discussions or emotionally charged exchanges require time, calmness, and deliberate expression. Practice gratitude and acknowledgement. Recognizing contributions, effort, or insight from others fosters mutual respect and deeper connection. Avoid over-explaining or over-justifying. Confidence in clarity and truth communicates authenticity more effectively than defensiveness. Emphasize shared goals and common ground. Highlighting alignment strengthens trust and reduces conflict in discussion. Be consistent across platforms and contexts. Authenticity is reinforced when verbal, written, and digital communication align with values and behavior. Manage assumptions of understanding. Confirm that your message is received and interpreted as intended to prevent miscommunication. Use reflective listening. Paraphrasing and confirming the essence of others' statements demonstrates care and ensures clarity. Cultivate resilience in communication. Difficult conversations, criticism, or disagreement can challenge composure, but responding with clarity and integrity strengthens relationships. Avoid communication patterns that erode trust, such as avoidance, sarcasm, or passive aggressiveness. Focus on building rapport through honesty, respect, and intentional dialogue. Observe the impact of your words. Monitor reactions, engagement, and understanding to adjust delivery without compromising authenticity. Recognize that communication is continuous. Relationships strengthen through repeated acts of honesty, respect, and clarity over time. Commit to lifelong improvement. Effective communication is a skill cultivated through practice, reflection, and openness to feedback. Celebrate moments of successful connection. Acknowledging when understanding, trust, or insight is achieved reinforces habits of authenticity. Seek opportunities to deepen connection through dialogue. Engaging in meaningful discussions expands perspective, trust, and mutual respect. Recognize that authentic communication is a choice in every interaction. Consistently choosing honesty, clarity, empathy, and respect creates cumulative effects that strengthen relationships and personal influence. Communicating authentically is not merely about speaking, it is about listening, observing, understanding, and aligning words with truth. Each exchange becomes an opportunity to foster trust, convey respect, and cultivate relationships that are meaningful, resilient, and capable of supporting both personal and collective growth. Authenticity in expression builds confidence, nurtures cooperation, and ensures that connections are based on reality rather than pretense. Through deliberate practice, reflection, and mindful presence, the ability to communicate authentically becomes a reliable foundation for trust, respect, and enduring meaningful connections in every aspect of life. Chapter 1: Embrace change to adapt, thrive, and overcome life's inevitable obstacles. Change is one of the few constants in life, yet it is often met with resistance, fear, or hesitation. Embracing change is not merely accepting circumstances, it is actively choosing to adapt, thrive, and navigate life's inevitable obstacles with clarity and purpose. The first step is shifting mindset. Viewing change as an opportunity rather than a threat opens the mind to solutions, growth, and possibility. Begin by acknowledging reality without denial. Recognize that circumstances evolve and that resisting unavoidable shifts only prolongs discomfort and reduces effectiveness. Focus on what can be controlled, even in situations beyond influence. There are aspects such as mindset, effort, and response that remain fully within personal authority. Assess the impact of change objectively. Understand how alterations in circumstances affect life priorities and long-term goals to make informed decisions. Accept impermanence as a guiding principle. Nothing remains static, and embracing the fluid nature of life reduces anxiety and fosters resilience. Cultivate flexibility in thought and behavior. Rigid attachment to routines, outcomes, or expectations impedes adaptation, while openness allows for creative solutions. Build mental agility by exposing yourself to new perspectives, experiences, and ideas regularly. This prepares the mind to respond effectively when shifts occur unexpectedly. Let go of attachment to comfort. The familiar may feel safe, but it often limits growth and blocks the development of resilience. Approach change deliberately. Identify necessary adjustments, plan actionable steps, and take incremental action to navigate transitions confidently. Strengthen emotional resilience. Change can trigger stress, fear, or uncertainty, and managing these responses with awareness, self-regulation, and constructive habits ensures stability. Practice reflective thinking. Examine past experiences with change to recognize effective strategies, recurring patterns, and lessons that can guide current adaptation. Develop problem-solving focus. Each obstacle within change presents an opportunity to analyze, strategize, and act decisively rather than react impulsively. Foster curiosity rather than resistance. Asking questions about new situations encourages learning, reduces fear, and uncovers potential benefits. Maintain a long-term perspective. Immediate discomfort often masks positive outcomes, and viewing change through a broader lens supports persistence and informed decision-making. Identify opportunities within disruption. Shifts in circumstances can reveal paths, skills, or connections that were previously inaccessible. Prioritize adaptability as a daily practice. Small adjustments in routine, mindset, or approach reinforce the ability to respond to larger transitions effectively. Embrace experimentation. Trying new strategies, behaviors, or approaches reduces fear of uncertainty and strengthens confidence in navigating unfamiliar terrain. Build support networks. Collaboration, guidance, and encouragement from trusted individuals reinforce resilience and provide perspective during periods of change. Maintain clarity in values and goals. Knowing what matters most ensures decisions align with purpose, even as external conditions evolve. Avoid over-attachment to outcomes. Flexibility in expectations reduces frustration and allows focus on actionable steps rather than unchangeable results. Incorporate regular reflection and planning. Periodic assessment of circumstances, responses, and progress ensures that adaptation is proactive rather than reactive. Develop patience with the process. Change often unfolds gradually, and endurance, persistence, and focus are necessary to achieve desired outcomes. Cultivate self-confidence. Belief in one's ability to navigate uncertainty strengthens courage and reduces the paralytic effect of fear. Recognize fear as a signal, not a barrier. Feeling discomfort highlights areas of growth, alertness, or action, and addressing it constructively fosters personal evolution. Emphasize learning over immediate control, viewing change as a teacher transforms obstacles into tools for skill, insight, and wisdom. Maintain presence during transitions. Focusing on actionable steps in the current moment prevents overwhelm and promotes clarity of response. Accept that loss is part of adaptation. Letting go of outdated systems, relationships, or expectations creates space for new opportunities to emerge. Strengthen decision-making through observation. Assessing situations calmly, gathering relevant information, and anticipating consequences improves effectiveness under change. Practice gratitude for the lessons within disruption. Acknowledging insights gained reduces resistance and encourages engagement rather than avoidance. Use challenges as opportunities to develop new skills. Adaptation often requires expanding competence, and viewing shifts as practice grounds strengthens capability. Reframe obstacles as catalysts. Every difficulty within change can motivate innovation, growth, and stronger problem-solving abilities. Monitor and regulate emotional energy. Maintaining composure, focus, and calmness ensures that reactions to change are intentional rather than reactive. Identify patterns of past adaptation. Recognizing effective strategies, mistakes, and tendencies enhances preparedness for current and future transitions. Develop resilience through incremental exposure. Facing smaller adjustments intentionally trains the mind to navigate larger disruptions with confidence. Practice decisiveness in action. Procrastination in response to change amplifies uncertainty, while timely decisions establish momentum and control. Observe external versus internal control. Focus effort where influence exists and release energy wasted on uncontrollable variables. Maintain flexibility in goals without compromising values. Adjusting strategies while holding core principles ensures alignment and progress despite shifting circumstances. Reinforce adaptability through learning. Acquiring new knowledge, skills, and perspectives increases readiness for unpredictable changes. Balance acceptance and initiative. Embracing reality while taking proactive steps fosters effectiveness and reduces helplessness. Cultivate mindfulness. Awareness of thoughts, emotions, and reactions allows conscious response rather than being swept away by uncertainty. Seek feedback and guidance from trusted sources. External input provides clarity, perspective, and insight that improves decision-making during transitions. Identify opportunities for growth within uncertainty. Situations outside comfort often reveal untapped potential, skills, and strengths. Maintain optimism grounded in reality. Positive expectation encourages constructive engagement without ignoring practical limitations. Develop rituals that anchor stability. Habits, routines, and daily practices provide consistent grounding even amid significant change. Use reflection to extract lessons. Evaluating actions, outcomes, and emotional responses turns disruption into actionable wisdom. Strengthen problem-solving frameworks. Systematic approaches to analyzing challenges, generating options, and implementing solutions enhance adaptability. Celebrate small successes during transitions. Recognizing incremental achievements reinforces confidence and maintains motivation. Maintain clarity in communication. Explaining changes, intentions, and expectations clearly reduces confusion and supports alignment with others. Anticipate resistance in yourself and others. Recognizing natural hesitation allows proactive strategies to guide adaptation smoothly. Embrace discomfort as a teacher. Unpleasant experiences within change highlight growth areas and reinforce resilience. Maintain focus on long-term vision. Immediate turbulence can obscure overall purpose, and clarity of direction strengthens persistence. Reinforce the habit of evaluating options. Careful analysis ensures that decisions during change are informed, strategic, and aligned with goals. Develop mental toughness through repeated exposure. Navigating smaller adjustments builds endurance for larger, more complex transitions. Recognize opportunities for innovation. Changing conditions often necessitate creativity, adaptation, and strategic thinking that can produce superior outcomes. Embrace imperfection in the process. Mistakes, missteps, and learning curves are natural and contribute to long-term mastery. Practice deliberate response rather than reaction. Observing internal impulses before acting allows for measured, intentional decisions. Prioritize self-care. Physical, emotional, and mental energy are essential to sustain clarity and resilience during ongoing adaptation. Seek perspective. Evaluating situations from multiple angles reduces bias, enhances understanding, and supports better choices. Recognize that change is an essential driver of growth, skill, and personal evolution. By embracing change proactively, cultivating resilience, and responding intentionally, individuals learn to navigate life's obstacles with clarity, purpose, and confidence. Each adaptation strengthens capacity, opens new opportunities, and reinforces the ability to thrive, creating a life defined not by resistance, but by mastery over circumstance and deliberate progression toward goals. Chapter 2. Lead yourself wisely to live purposefully, fully, and intentionally every day. Leading yourself wisely is the ultimate act of responsibility, empowerment, and purpose. The ability to direct thoughts, choices, and actions intentionally forms the foundation of a meaningful life, and doing so consistently requires awareness, discipline, and clarity of purpose. Begin by defining personal values. Knowing what truly matters establishes a framework for decision-making and ensures that every choice aligns with your principles. Clarify your priorities daily. Distinguishing between urgent demands and meaningful objectives allows focus on what contributes most to long-term fulfillment. Cultivate self-awareness. Understanding emotions, thought patterns, and tendencies provides insight into how decisions are made and which behaviors require adjustment. Take responsibility for every outcome. Avoid blaming circumstances, others, or past experiences. Ownership fosters empowerment and eliminates excuses. Set clear intentions each morning. Deciding deliberately how to act, respond, and engage frames the day with purpose rather than letting external events dictate direction. Practice self-discipline consistently. Following through on commitments, maintaining routines, and controlling impulses reinforces reliability and personal authority. Monitor thoughts vigilantly. Recognize unproductive, fearful, or reactive patterns and redirect mental energy toward constructive, empowering perspectives. Schedule regular reflection periods. Evaluating decisions, actions, and progress strengthens insight and supports informed adjustments to behavior. Strengthen decision-making skills. Consider options carefully, anticipate consequences, and act decisively without procrastination or undue hesitation. Manage energy intentionally. Physical, mental, and emotional resources determine effectiveness. Maintain routines that support optimal performance. Maintain clarity of focus. Resist distractions, reduce mental clutter, and prioritize tasks that align with long-term objectives. Develop resilience to setbacks. Challenges are inevitable, and responding with adaptability, calm, and constructive action reinforces confidence and persistence. Embrace continuous learning. Acquiring knowledge, skills, and insights expands capabilities and enhances judgment in guiding personal actions. Practice emotional regulation. Responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively ensures that decisions are deliberate, ethical, and aligned with values. Set boundaries consciously. Protect time, energy, and focus from influences that undermine purpose or distract from meaningful pursuits. Create habits that reinforce growth. Consistent routines aligned with objectives. Automate behaviors that support achievement and personal evolution. Use reflection to refine priorities. Regularly reassessing what matters prevents drift and maintains alignment with life goals. Cultivate courage in decision-making. Leading oneself requires confronting uncertainty, making difficult choices, and accepting responsibility for outcomes. Visualize desired outcomes. Mental rehearsal of objectives and ideal behaviors strengthens clarity, confidence, and the likelihood of achieving intentions. Actively manage influence. Surround yourself with people, environments, and information that support growth, insight, and alignment with values. Avoid complacency. Continuous self-leadership demands vigilance, attention, and proactive adaptation to evolving circumstances. Practice accountability to yourself. Track progress, recognize areas for improvement, and adjust behaviors without external prompting. Balance short-term actions with long-term vision. Ensure daily efforts contribute meaningfully to overarching objectives, rather than reacting only to immediate pressures. Strengthen resilience through deliberate exposure to challenges. Facing manageable risks and difficulties builds capacity to navigate complex situations effectively. Reinforce habits of clarity. Writing, journaling, or verbalizing priorities solidifies understanding and prevents drift. Maintain adaptability. Leading yourself wisely requires flexibility in strategy while holding firm to core principles. Recognize patterns in behavior. Identifying tendencies, both constructive and limiting, allows intentional adjustment and improvement. Emphasize intentionality over business. Activity without direction consumes energy without generating meaningful progress. Apply lessons from experience promptly. Insights gained through reflection or observation become effective only when integrated into action. Cultivate mindfulness. Awareness of present thoughts, emotions, and surroundings enhances decision-making, reduces impulsivity, and strengthens self-control. Practice self-compassion. Acknowledging mistakes, learning from setbacks, and moving forward without self-condemnation sustains motivation and perseverance. Engage in deliberate planning. Define objectives, identify steps, and establish measurable milestones to maintain focus and track advancement. Use visualization to guide daily actions. Imagining success, challenges, and strategies prepares the mind for execution and reinforces purpose. Evaluate external pressures critically. Avoid allowing others' agendas, societal expectations, or temporary trends to dictate actions. Strengthen emotional intelligence. Understanding personal and interpersonal dynamics improves communication, collaboration, and influence while maintaining authenticity. Establish rituals that reinforce clarity, focus, and energy. Morning routines, reflection periods, or structured practices anchor purposeful action consistently. Monitor progress through measurable indicators. Tracking behaviors, outcomes, and milestones supports accountability and provides motivation. Anticipate challenges and plan responses. Proactive problem-solving reduces reactive stress and ensures consistent forward movement. Reinforce self-trust. Confidence in the ability to make wise choices strengthens decisiveness and reduces hesitation. Practice gratitude for autonomy. Recognizing the ability to direct life intentionally fosters motivation, satisfaction, and appreciation for responsibility. Maintain focus on controllable factors. Energy is most productive when directed toward areas within influence rather than external, unchangeable conditions. Integrate learning into action immediately. Knowledge without application does not strengthen leadership or personal impact. Cultivate patience with process. Significant growth, achievement, and self-mastery develop gradually through consistent, intentional practice. Use setbacks as guidance. Obstacles provide insight into limitations, opportunities for growth, and areas requiring adjustment. Reinforce self-discipline through repetition. Each consistent act of intentional behavior strengthens neural pathways, making purposeful action habitual. Align daily actions with long-term goals. Decisions made moment to moment accumulate into outcomes over weeks, months, and years. Avoid unnecessary comparison. Lead yourself based on personal values, objectives, and capacity, not external benchmarks or societal expectations. Develop clarity in communication with self. Internal dialogue influences confidence, motivation, and the quality of decisions. Reassess priorities frequently. Life circumstances, knowledge, and goals evolve, requiring periodic adjustment to maintain alignment. Strengthen accountability mechanisms. Tracking progress, sharing intentions, and reviewing outcomes ensure commitment and sustained focus. Embrace responsibility for emotional states. Self-leadership includes managing reactions, maintaining composure, and responding constructively to challenges. Practice foresight. Anticipate potential obstacles, opportunities, and consequences to make strategic, informed choices. Reinforce habits that align with vision. Repetition of behaviors consistent with goals ensures momentum and accelerates personal growth. Use reflection to celebrate progress. Recognizing improvement strengthens motivation and reinforces purposeful action. Commit fully to decisions and actions. Half-hearted engagement undermines consistency, momentum, and the development of self-leadership. Integrate lessons from others selectively. Observing models of effective leadership, strategy, and decision-making informs personal practice without imitation. Strengthen focus through elimination. Remove distractions, irrelevant commitments, and unnecessary effort to concentrate energy on meaningful objectives. Lead with integrity in all actions. Decisions aligned with values foster trust, confidence, and internal harmony. Maintain balance between discipline and flexibility. Firm adherence to purpose combined with adaptive response ensures sustained progress. Recognize that leading oneself wisely is a daily choice. Each action, thought, and decision is an opportunity to exercise responsibility, awareness, and intention. Consistent practice compounds into long-term growth, fulfillment, and mastery over circumstances. By living intentionally, focusing on priorities, and directing effort with clarity and purpose, individuals create a life of meaning, effectiveness, and resilience. Self-leadership empowers action, strengthens autonomy, and enables the ability to navigate life fully, deliberately, and with enduring impact.